Welcome everyone to week 3. I am Professor Tiger here today. Is a substitute actually. We got TDS. Miles David had to do something else. I think his voice hurt or something. But anyways, it's going to be an exciting matchup today. We've got Iceborne Reborn versus Zen Esports and TDS. What are the thoughts coming into this week?
Well, like we were talking before, first of all, thank you for having me tonight. Obviously, Miles had a little bit of a trouble, so I'm happy covering for him. And going into this game, both teams are 1-1. So we were speaking before how this game may be really important coming into the later stages of the game of the season, since if it ends up being about a tiebreaker, then having the upper edge over one of the teams is really crucial. So this game will be important. This series will be important. And first of all, looking at the bans, we can clearly see the Fiddlesticks ban and the Zac ban are two that stick out to me really hugely because Fiddlesticks is a champion that sometimes it's really nice to have, but it's hard to play with. So I can see that Zen respect a lot Iceborne with that kind of pick, and I was really impacted with seeing it banned away. And right away we see a set pick, which is really surprising, specifically because it's a champion that it's not in the meta and that can be countered really easily by a lot of champions and can have a hard time if he is not ahead early on. So I'm surprised it was first pick.
Yeah, Zed definitely a very aggressive pick. It seems like Zen will be looking to have a lot of early game control with that pick. Zed, of course, pretty good at roaming as well as having a lot of all-in threat, especially once he hits level 6. But just coming back, looks like Iceborne going to pick up a few power picks here with the Rumble and the set. I think those should be looking pretty good into team fight situations and have some level of flexibility. I'm going to assume that it's set top and Rumble mid until I find out otherwise, but you never know for sure.
Yeah, like you were saying, we can guess those positions, but one of the two great things from those two champions is that they are really flexible. You can go wherever you want with those champions, and you haven't yet said anything about your composition because of how flexible those two champions are. And now looking at the side from Zen Esports, Evelyn coming in, and as well as Shen, I think they pretty much just revealed what are their top side, because you cannot really move these three champions around that much. Maybe the Shen, to a certain degree, can go support, but Evelyn will go jungle. Instead, will go mid lane. It's kind of a given, and now you have a lot more room to draft around those those three champions, and play around them as well. And now the Jhin comes through. Kind of surprising seeing Jhin, mainly because you already know the three of the champions from them, so giving away your bot lane is kind of interesting, as well as giving away your bot lane with a champion like Jhin that is not currently a really strong meta pick, and some other champions are more highly valuable, like Ezreal, like Kai'Sa, like Varus, which are still open.
Yeah, I do think that the Jhin is an alright pick given the situation. I mean, Zen has pretty hard committed to having like a burst comp where they're going to try to blow you up with Zed, try to blow you up with Evelyn. And Jhin just being really long range can help dissuade that by just trying to poke them out. So I definitely don't think that the Jhin is a bad pick. But as you said, maybe not towards the meta as much. So we'll see if he's going to end up getting countered in the bot lane. Maybe by a champion that has better all-in potential earlier. Maybe depending on what the support is as well, could be a bad matchup. But we'll see which direction that goes. It looks like Viego going to be picked up, possibly jungle. I guess the Rumble could be a jungle pick as well still. So we'll see which direction they're going to go with that. But it looks like support will be the counter pick for Iceborne here in the red side.
Or Zed. Zed can still go to support. So that's also one of the valuable things from Iceborne Reborn, is that they have so much flexible champions that you really cannot guess where one of them is going apart from the Jhin. The Jhin is kind of a given because he cannot go anywhere else apart from AD carry, unless you want to do something cheesy with sending him mid lane or something like that. But the other three champions, you don't know where they are going. The last pick here may give away a little bit towards the support, because if they pick a support, it's pretty much obvious that the set is not going support. But apart from that, you really drafted in a nice way that the enemy does not know where everything is going. And like that, when it's big, so it's set support, I think went top lane, Rumble jungle, and Viego mid lane. I think it's what's to be expected with this composition. And they have a lot of damage, a lot of late game insurance with Viego and Gwen, as well as a lot of mid-game power if the Rumble is ahead. So overall, I really like this Iceborne Reborn composition. And Zen, with what they drafted, they are going a lot for having such an early power spike that if they don't snowball as soon as possible, they may just lose the game by 15 minutes.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I was kind of hoping that Iceborne would just go with another tank, because right now you look at the champions on Zen, you've got Zed, Evelyn, Caitlyn. Those are your damage dealers, pretty much, and they all do just a lot of upfront damage. You're not going to expect to see those doing DPS throughout a fight, so just picking up a tanky champion, I feel like would have made it that much more difficult for Zen to execute on their team comp. But I do respect Iceborne for saying that they're going to challenge this. They're going to see if they can find outplays, and instead of just relying on a team comp that maybe in some ways counters the opposing team comp, they're going to face it head on. They're going to beat them with skill, and we'll see if that works out for them in this game.
Yeah, like you were saying, you can probably just go for something more tanky. Sion, example, and he's a really nice champion against this kind of bursty composition that they have. But I feel like it's a nice commodity to have, and it's useful, but in reality you don't need to have it that much, because I feel like Zen, if they don't snowball out of control, they're just going to fall off so hard by 20 minutes, by 25 minutes. And if they fall hard, they cannot win teamfights unless they are the ones that outplay. In comparison, Iceborne Reborn have much more leeway in what they want to do, and even if the Jhin dies, you have the Viego, you have the Wen, you have the Rumble. You don't need to depend on Jhin to kill someone. But on the other hand, if Zed and Evelyn use their burst and the Caitlyn dies, they don't have any more consistent damage to try and win teamfights, something that they will lag a lot if they are not super far ahead. So that's one of my fears for them. So if they are able to outplay the enemy team really easily, then credit to them, because they are executing something hard. But it's just hard to see them achieving that, especially against a team that has a Gwen and a Viego that are two really strong champions right now, and that they ended up being so far in the draft.
And I think that one of the things I'll be looking at throughout this game is the top lane matchup, because it's pretty important at all phases, really. I think Gwen and Shen both like to fight in the early stages. I think Shen should probably have the advantage out of those two before level 6. Once the needlework comes through, all bets are off, of course, because the Shen ult is only defensive. So we'll be able to see how that flips once they get to level 6. But I definitely think by having the Spirit's Refuge up, Shen can definitely win out on some of these early trades. And we'll see if Zen Joshi is going to be able to pick up solo kills off of that, or get lane prio, or what's going to be. But either way, hopefully going to be converting and then being able to help out towards the mid lane and the jungle, where they're putting a lot of their pressure this game.
Yeah, and that is something really important. Shen needs to make a really nice use of the Stand United, because he can turn around bad fights for the Zed and the Evelyn. And he can even give them the survival chance that they may need if they try to go for a heavy 1v1 or outplay play that they need to pull off in this game. So Shen is going to be pivotal, as you were saying, and I agree, top lane may be really critical in what ends up developing of this game. I think Shen, like you were saying, should have the upper hand, but Gwen is one of those champions that you may think that it's a more skilling champion, but her early damage, especially when her passive is charged, her Q will deal a lot of percentage health, and that may make trades against the Shen really bad. But also Shen has the possibility, like you're saying, with his shield to just block out outright damage, and also because he wants to fight on top of the Gwen, the Shroud from the Gwen is not going to be as useful. So at least he will have that edge early on, but he needs to be careful about not misplaying, because Gwen top lane usually takes Ignite as well. So that may be another edge for the Gwen to try and take advantage of, and if she gets one good trade and by some reason ends up flowing at the flash of the Shen or killing him, then that matchup will turn so badly for the Shen and so good for the Gwen.
Yeah, for sure, and definitely having a fed Gwen would definitely take Iceborne's comp and move it directly towards that victory path that they need. The split push power of Gwen is pretty much unrivaled in this game. So I think that once we get on to later levels, Iceborne is going to want to get into that 4-1 or 1-3-1 sort of situation where they can just rely on their split pushers to take down towers. And I feel like there's not a great deal of siege potential from the side of Zen Esports. I think that maybe they can abuse the range of Caitlyn and Morgana a little bit, but definitely not like a dive comp in any sort of sense, unless you're thinking that Zed is going to be tanky enough to dive under tower if he's got the Shen ultimate on top of him. Which maybe that's possible, but I don't think that that's going to straight up win against a split push situation.
Yeah, and the split push, it's not only the Gwen, but also the Viego. It's something that I think we have left a little bit aside, but Viego will become a menace as well, the longer the game goes on in the split push. And even against a set that can try and burst you, Viego can really well fight him, because his Shroud mechanic is really good, even with the Deathmark, as well as his innate lifesteal, so if the set tries ever to fight him up front, he may lose a lot. But Zed can just burst him out. So that mid lane matchup, it's kind of hyphy just because of how much outplay potential there may be. But I would expect the Zed to be able to put the pressure up by level 3 and 4. Then the Viego will probably survive by level 5, and at level 6 it's when the Zed either will go all in trying to get a kill, or the Viego will try and just continue farming and survive. Because if the Viego dies as well, the Zed will just move out of mid lane and then go into bot lane and roam and try and kill the Jhin, and sometimes they win as well. So it's an overall thing that they need to be careful of. And it's, for me at least, those two solo lane matchups, it's going to be really important. The top lane mainly, but the mid lane is going to affect as well. And if they don't shut down the split pushers early on, it may turn into a much worse thing the longer the game goes on.
All right, well, we're going to have a quick stretch break here, so don't go anywhere. On the other side, we're going to have Game 1 of Zen Esports versus Iceborne Reborn. Welcome back, everyone. We've got game one underway on the blue side. We're going to have Zen Esports. On the red side will be Iceborne, Reborn, and it should be exciting game one. Spicy picks here. We've got lots of assassins, and looks like it could be a four-man group on the invade early from Zen Esports.
Yeah, and this interesting move, waiting for them to go in. I don't expect Iceborne to just go in blindly at level 1. I was expecting more a level 1 invade from the side of Zen. So this is kind of surprising and not actually taking full advantage of the Morgana level 1, which it's not bad, but I think like I was saying, they need to get an early advantage, and this was not the correct lane, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, they decided to play it more defensively. This is a less risky play than trying to walk into the enemy jungle. So definitely not the worst outcome, but not going to get any early advantage, as you're saying. So makes sense how you could be trying to look for more if you're playing such an early game-oriented team comp.
Yeah, what I'm interested in seeing now as well is what the junglers would like to do, because we see Rumble going to start top lane, so he may want to focus bottom lane with this, and on the other side it's the Evelyn going top side with this start. So I really want to know what they will try and pressure. I think Evelyn may want to go and gank mid lane as soon as possible to maybe blow up a flash and give more leeway for the set that is going Ignite.
Yeah, definitely you want to push those early advantages, and with the Evelyn, definitely not as much gank potential until she hits level 6. But if you can force that flash out, then that means that it can be reganked, and maybe level 3 or 4 you want to go for that so that the flash will still be on cooldown once the level 6s begin to come through. So definitely keeping an eye out from that. But it looks like Heyman Karn going for an invade here on the top side jungle, trying to steal away some of those camps and get that early advantage on the Rumble.
Yeah, and that is really important to pull up because nobody from the side of Zen knows that this is going on. So they don't have any vision on the Rumble doing this. And now the Evelyn will be so far behind because he's not only clearing the blue, he's stealing the Grump as well. He will go into his own jungle, get the Raptors, and then go into his own blue. So it's going to be really important. If they really don't know that this is happening, the Evelyn will be so far behind and already a bad start for that champion.
Yeah, and also spotted out on a ward is going to be Angels with me. So he's going to be known his position, and looks like flank potentially position from Heyman
Everyone
Karn.
is
We'll see if
collapsing.
they're going to be able to find that. Looks like on a ward, the recall going to be caught
Yeah.
out. Nezumi on the rotation. It's a 3v1. Angels going to be in trouble. First blood going over to Heyman Karn on the invade.
That was so beautifully played from the side of Iceborne Reborn. They prepped that up so well, pushing top lane, pushing mid lane. They didn't have any vision, so the Rumble goes in. And with all of that set up, you already know that Evelyn has to path topside because the bot lane was starting down. They didn't go in as soon as possible, so they knew that the Evelyn had to start down. So that way you were setting up everything. Now the Rumble has first blood, a nice champion to be ahead early on, and he will transition into mid game so nicely for everyone in the team. So this is a really nice job by Iceborne Reborn as a team, not only the jungler.
Yeah, and not only is the kill coming through to Heyman Karn, he's also going to be able to take double scuttle, and he still has 5 camps up. So he's going to start building a CS advantage here, and he's going to be not just ahead in the experience and the gold, but he's also going to be on pace to continue pushing this advantage.
Yeah, and even if some of the lanes end up losing things, something like the mid lane was kind of first because the Evelyn was there, but they knew that, so it wasn't going to affect that much. The wave is going to go back towards the Viego, and the Viego has innate heal, so it won't matter that much. Every other lane is in a perfect position. The Jhin has a CS advantage, even against two range matchups. The top lane is freezing, so she will have a lot of advantage as well. She's still keeping her TP and her Ignite, and she can fight really easily against the Shen. And now with almost every lane down in terms of gold, and the jungle having an advantage, it's going to be so hard for the side of Senigma to fight, even to fight in the coming 5 minutes. But as soon as they hit level 6, they may try to go first place to try and equal the gold lead.
Yep, and first Drake of the game just spawning now. It's going to be an ocean, so that's going to be Maybe a little bit of priority, especially since Iceborne Reborn is so far ahead already. 1,000 gold at 5 minutes is just a very strong lead in any situation. So they'll be glad with that, especially against such an early game comp. Uh, Now invades coming through from Jase, so maybe they're going to continue this jungle domination for Iceborne, and trying to get some priority over the Drake as well. Resets coming through from the junglers. We'll see just how quickly they want to go towards that objective.
Yeah, one of the good things for the Evelyn that I think we haven't mentioned is that the catch-up XP may come up later on, so she will not be as far behind in levels against the Rumble, but the gold difference may just keep on piling because Rumble is a really good jungle farmer, and he will keep on farming and farming at an exponential rate in comparison to the Evelyn. So that is also something really important to keep in mind. Rumble is setting up something to go bot lane. He doesn't have Equalizer yet, but they're really pushed up.
Ooh. Yeah, he blast coned over the wall, so they're not going to see him until he's too late. Firecracker is going to be closest. Now it's going to be Stand United as well. Teleport's coming in. It's a 3v3. Could be a 3v4 soon, but Zen Jossi going to claim the first of the fight. It's a 1-for-1. Another teleport coming through. Waiting Sucks is now here. Going to be able to find the second kill for his side. Will the dive be able to come through? Zen Joshi about 400 health left. It's going to be the tower in his player, but it's going to be a 2-for-1 in favor of Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, and maybe a Drake, so even if it's not only the 2-for-1, it's going to be even more of an advantage. But they are prepping to answer this Drake with the Set and the Evelyn. Both level 6.
Yeah, and both with ult still available after the fight. Kirito going to walk forward, going to be spied out, teleport coming in as well. Now it's going to be the disengage trying to come through from the side of Iceborne Reborn, but will they be able to be out? It looks like they may be trying to re-engage. The equalizer is in. Heyman Karn going very low, going to be shut down. 1-for-1 going to be traded off. The Drake going to go down as well. Zen Esports picking that one up, but it's Frostbite trying to continue the fight. A double kill coming through on the Jhin. Now it's going to be a poke coming through both sides. Josh in trouble. Now it's going to be Angels going down as well. A chaotic fight coming through. A 3-for-2 on that one, but the Drake as well going over to Zen Esports.
Yeah, and overall it may seem to be something closer, but one kill for the Viego, he's now so far ahead, and a couple of kills I think went for the Jhin as well. So even though the Rumble dies and the Drake goes to the side of Senigma, it's still such a nice trade for the side of Iceborne Esports. And more importantly, the Gwen was alone top lane. She was able to farm. She's now almost 20 CS ahead of the Shen with almost 2 plates of gold into her pocket. She's so strong right now. She will back and get even farther ahead. Like, she already has the Bleaching Leer, and as soon as she has the Rift Maker, she's going to just be able to put so much pressure on the Shen, even if the Shen tries to run away.
Gold lead out to 2,000 now in favor of Iceborne Reborn. That root going to be turning into quite a bit of damage. Firecracker going to be landing that spell, but now a Dank going to come through. A good Facebreaker lands onto 2, and the Equalizer over the top turns into a double kill. Heyman Karn coming through for Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, and that trade on the Jhin seemed so good, but when they are so pushed far ahead in the lane, the Zed can just walk forward like he did, and it won't matter whatever you try to do because the bind is down. Your traps will not hit him. He will just get on top of you, and as soon as the Black Shield is down, he will stun you and set you up to die. Really well done by the Zed, as well as the Rumble being there, and what seemed to be a good play for the bot lane from Zenitspurs turned into a 2 kills for the Rumble and a couple of plates.
Yeah, and the lead just keeps on getting bigger. It's getting almost close to 3,000 at this point in favor of Iceborne Reborn. They're doing very nicely on continuing the growth of this lead. Looks like it not going to be any major objectives to fight over on the back of that fight. But the fighting has been so constant this game that just the gold going back and forth is accelerating the pace.
Yeah, and oh,
a gank coming up in the bot lane. It's going to be the unstoppable from Josh on the way out, but now it's going to be the tag on the back and the ace in the hole under the tower. Not where you want to be for that one, but the disengage comes through. Good block from Frostbite to make sure that his support gets out alive.
Yeah, and that was a double flash from the Evelynn and the Caitlyn. So they blew almost everything to try and get a kill, and they are not able to get anything out of that. Just a flash from the Jhin, and nothing more. It's not going to be that valuable. The Jhin is super happy with what's happening now, and the rest of the team as well. Look, Rumble is taking out the Rift Herald alone, uncontested. And this may turn into more plates for either the Viego, the Gwen, or even the Jhin to some degree.
Yeah, it's going to be a couple plates potentially here on the bot side, on the side of Zen, but definitely going to be favorable across the map. If you're Iceborne Reborn, the trade's still doing damage, so the poke is definitely a threat of getting kills. It looks like a dive may be starting to develop in the bot side, but Angel's going to be spotted out on a control ward, so good warding there from the side of Iceborne's bot lane to make sure that they're going to be all right here.
Yeah, and even though they misplayed that gank attempt and and didn't get any kill at all, they're still getting really nice chip damage on the turret, almost getting 4 plates completely, and they could even just destroy the turret alone because there's not that much of an answer against this kind of pushing lane. Even though the set is a really nice answer towards certain things, they can just keep on pushing. They don't need to fight, they just need to push, poke, and deal as much damage as they can without actually dying. That's really important for them.
Yep. As we talked about before, the Rift Herald did go over, so Heyman Karn going to be in ownership of that for the next little while. We'll see if they can pick up a couple plates with that, potentially push that towards the top side and help Waiting Sucks continue to dominate that top lane. Try to get the first tower off of it even, so we'll see if they're going to be able to do that before the 14 minutes when the plate's going to drop. But other than that, good macro overall. Well, that was a pretty large trade. So Kirito doing some decent damage on this Zed, even though he hasn't gotten any kills yet. But that's what happens when you get hit by a double shuriken and electrocute, I suppose.
Yeah, he has the serrated dirk, so he has the lethality to be able to deal damage. It's just that he's not getting the kills out of that, and whoa, that was so close to stopping the recall. That would be really important. But now Viego has the Blade of the Ring King. I think he will go for crack for Shield Bow to try and have the defensive stats against the Zed and the Evelynn, which in turn will be make him so much more easy to be able to push the side lanes. And they are setting up the Referral bot lane, but Evelynn is coming as well. They need to be
Yeah,
careful.
it looks like it could be breaking out into a fight. Jose gonna be zoning off the enemy Evelynn. There goes the charge into the tower, and the disengage going to be attempted, but Angels may be too far forward. Now the equalizer over the top. It's going to be the Stand United trying to go under the tower. Jose could be in trouble. Heyman Karn going to claim one kill, but one is traded back under the tower. Firecracker going to claim that one. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Now mid lane trades coming through, but I think that should be just about it.
Yeah, mid lane shouldn't be that much, but there's still the ultimate on the set, so the Viego has to be a little bit careful. On the bot lane, really nice stand united by Saint Yoshi to be able to support the Evelynn, but overall they still get a kill, they get a couple of plates, but they are going to get the first turret as well as the second Drake. Sadly for the side of Zen, this is a Cloud Soul, so they are not going to be as happy as they would have been with a Mountain Soul in comparison, or an Infernal Soul if it ended up being that, but there is still a chance for them to be able to win this game. If they get to the soul point, they are able to clear it soon enough and then get the Elder Drake. That is something really important for them.
Yeah, or representatives of House Cloud, if you remember, Zen is going to be that in this game. On the other side, Iceborne Reborn is House Ocean, so the namesake of the house going to be the soul of this first game. We'll see if that does anything the rest of the series. I need to check my tables, see who is winning out so far in the house races. But it looks like Zenjashi going to try to find a trade in the bot side. Just going to interrupt the recall, I suppose.
Yeah.
But Frostbite going to be mildly annoyed by that, you have to feel.
I was worried that it would turn out something worse because I thought maybe someone was there and he was going to try and force something out of the Jin, but it didn't turn up into anything, so it's nice for the side of Iceborne. But they are having good moves around the map, going for this top turret now and trying to push as much as they can because they have the pushing advantage with the Caitlyn and the Morgana. This is something that they need to use as well in to try and take as much turrets as they can and give a space for the Zed and the Evelynn to try and collapse on certain members. Ooh.
Ooh, that's going to be the root
Here.
coming through onto Jose, but there's a lot of members nearby. Equalizer going to go down. Firecracker may be in trouble. Will he
Nice.
get sniped out by the curtain call? But one traded back. Is Christ still APV going to be killing off one? The ace in the hole not going to be enough, but it is going to be the death mark finishing off the job. Nezumi going down as well. 2 for 1. Zen Esports taking the fight.
Yeah, and that fight felt so forced to try and be executed. They try and overcommit for a couple of kills that they in reality don't need, and instead give away a really important kill to the set that was already putting a lot of pressure on the Diego. And now he will be able to push this turret. I'm not sure if he can kill it, but the only one that is going to respond is the set, so that may give him enough leeway to push the turret, but no, he's backing away. So yeah, that's a kill for the set, and something really important that may turn back. Oh, Toblin.
Heyman on the dive. It's an insta delete of Christ. Now it's going to be Frostbite in trouble. Under tower is going to be too much. Heyman going to be taken down as well. A double kill over to Angels. Timely showing up of the jungler to make sure the fight goes 2-1 to Zen Esports.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why Iceborne is doing this. Yeah, they get a cute kill on the Caitlyn, but that is worthless. You gave away 2 shutdowns on the Jhin and the Rumble to the Evelynn. Why would you want to do that when you're already far ahead and you have a better late game composition? It's just really random to try and do that and give away what you've been working on so long for in the game. And now look at the gold lead. It's close to 200 gold. It's back to being meaningless. And now the Zed and the Evelynn will be able to fight even better because they are going into their power spikes. The Zed with the first lethality item, and the Evelynn, as soon as she has her first AP item, will be able to deal even more damage with her ultimate.
Yeah, right now I think that the gold lead even, but definitely the momentum swinging in favor of Zen Esports. We'll see if they're going to be able to continue pushing that forward. They do have a lot of the priority right now is their bot lane, definitely turret taking machines, and around the rest of the map they're finding some success in the fights. So we'll see if they're going to continue doing that. And as I say, turret taking machines, it looks like this top out are going to go down. So 2-0 on the towers. Now it could be a fight breaking out in the bot lane. A gank coming through. Angel's going to try to find the way on. Taunt lands, Charm lands. Waiting Suck's going to be waiting in the Shroud, but it's not going to matter. Zen Joshi going to take the kill.
Yeah, and really nice play by Angels with me, going bot lane with Senjoshi. They know that they can kill the Gwen right now because she didn't have Rhythmaker completed. She just completed it, and now she will have the pressure to do that. But really nice plays. I'm really liking Sen in this mid game, particularly. The early game was kind of chaotic and they were really down, but come mid game, they have been answering really well the plays that Iceborne would like to look for, and instead are committing for certain things that maybe we didn't expect, but are really executing nicely on them.
Yeah, right now I think just a little bit too much aggression coming through from the side of Iceborne Reborn. They need to find a way to slow it down a little bit, make sure that they're getting into their side lanes and getting the right push before they do stuff. But now, as I say that, they're pushed up too far yet again. Jose going to be in trouble, going to go down. Now it's going to be the death mark, trying to take down Heyman Karn, and he will. Kirito finding the second kill of the fight. Frostbite going to be in trouble. Ace in the hole lands. Zen Joshi picking one up as well. It's a 3-0 in favor of Zen Esports.
Yeah, and they are going to secure this Drake. Soul point, really important. And once again, I'm really confused what is happening with Iceborne in regards to why they are going for certain things, because they have control of the river, but for some reason they walk into the jungle thinking that they can do anything. A nice bind from Firecracker just secures the set, and then the set cannot just overcommit, go with the ultimate and kill anyone he wants. There's no Sanjas, there's no security, and there's just 3 members. The Stand United will come through and you will not be able to get anything else. So it's just, I think at come mid game, it's just being better team play and understanding of what your composition wants to do from the side of Zen.
Will this be a pick? Angel's going to figure it out in time to be able to dodge away going using the last embrace. But anyways, I was about to say that I'm thinking right now that it looks like the way that Iceborne Reborn is playing, just feel a little bit desperate. I don't know why it is. Maybe they just didn't communicate so well in the early stages when they actually had those big leads, but they didn't really need to be playing desperate, but all of a sudden they're down 3,000 gold because they've taken desperation plays. Desperation plays have a tendency to not work that well
Yeah.
sometimes. So definitely going to be in a situation where now they actually might be justified for going some of these desperation plays, but they definitely don't want to be in that position, and they weren't earlier.
Yeah, and the problem with going for desperation plays is not the idea of going for the desperation plays, but the moment that you do. If you have to go for desperation plays when you are not that badly in the game, where you have a chance and things like that, then I'm not sure if it's just you being afraid of nothing and not actually understanding what you need to do to actually win, which is worrying to some degree because that is something that may be team mentality. But on the other side, Sin never felt desperate. They were really far behind. They committed to, oh, wait, when?
Waiting Sucks could be in trouble. It looks like Christ's going to try to take him down. The Shroud wears
Using a
off.
flash.
Waiting Sucks going to be taken low. Going to be taken down the Piltover Peacemaker, put into the back, and that's a kill in the side lane. Good pick from Zen Esports.
Yeah, and it's just Sin knowing oh, wait.
Ooh, they're
Evelyn?
looking for another pick. This might be too much, though. Angel's in trouble, going to be
That is a nice
trying
kill.
to run away with
They
the
kill it.
last embrace. Going to dodge the Haymaker flash. Auto going to land.
Getting
The
the set.
shutdown coming through. And the stun going to stop any teleportation from coming through with the Stand Unite. I think that was used under tower. But anyways, we've got more fighting. Frostbite going to be in trouble. The Death Mark going to land. Kirito picking one off as well. And now the push continues in the bot lane. The wave not going to be able to be cut by Nezumi. That means that the bot tower, tier 3, going to go down, and it's an inhibitor exposed.
Yeah, and that the kill that they got on the Evelyn was really nice and cute and all, but it doesn't really amount to anything in comparison. The set just comes in. They committed so much to get the Evelyn kill. The Jhin had to flash, use Gayforce, and then the set just comes in, kills you, and you have nothing at all. And they will keep on pushing botlane because you have a Kaylin and a Morgana. So overall, this was something that I was going to say before they killed the Evelyn, but it's just Sen understanding what they want to do on the map and executing better. They are moving better around the map. They are taking turrets when they can. They are moving as a unit, and when they will seem to always have the numbers advantage when they want to commit to a play. Yes, someone may die randomly elsewhere like the Evelyn did, but it didn't really matter because you were taking all the bot lane. The only thing that is missing is the inhibitor, and I like that they didn't take the inhibitor because it's not worth taking right now. You're not going to get anything out of that.
Yeah, well, now desperation should be setting in for the side of Iceborne Reborn, because right in about a minute is Cloud Soul. They're going to need to fight for this one, and they're going to need to win, because giving up that Cloud Soul on top of this 4,000 gold lead would mean that it's almost insurmountable for the side of Iceborne Reborn. Zen Esports have control of the game right now. They've got them where they want them. They even look at Kirito. We were talking about the Zed being early game. He just kind of waited out through like level 8 or 9, but all of a sudden he's 3-0-4. He's popping off. Now Price going to try to find a kill. Frostbite going to be about 150 health. Not going to be available for this dragon fight. Going to have to recall first anyways. So they're going to be a little bit on the back foot right from the get-go here on the side of Iceborne Reborn. So we'll see if they're going to be able to get out in time. Looks like teleport coming in towards the top side. Maybe Baron going to be the call here. Kirito a little bit far away, but everyone rotating up pretty quickly here. Waiting Sucks on the other side of the map has teleport, so we'll see if a contest going to come through for this Baron, but it's burning down. It's down under 7,000 HP. The vision not going to be there yet. Now over the wall, but it's going to be too late. The curtain call coming through. Will it be able to tag? No. It's going to be secured by Angel. Zen Esports wearing purple, going to be walking towards this mid lane, and now Cloud Soul, the threat of ending the game as well. 5-man strong is the side of Zen Esports. Esports. They're walking down the river. They've got a ward in the bush. They can see what's happening. Josh, they're going to try to find the engage. It's the equalizer onto multiple members. Zen Joshi going to be getting out barely, but now Christ going to take the first kill of the fight. Now it's going to be Zen Joshi re-engaging with the Stand United Angels, going to take one down. Last embrace away. Kirito cleaning up the fight. It's the ace in the hole. It's a triple kill for Christ, going to be at 5-0 on the ace. Zen Esports pushing down the mid lane.
Yeah, and what a beautiful amount of events that went there. The parent take was so nice. I felt they messed it up by putting a ward over the wall, and the moment that the ping ward saw that, they were going to lose the ability to be able to push it. But overall, it turned out a really nice call, a really nice play. Then they run straight towards the dragon, and like you were saying, that was the most desperate play that Iceborne were going for, but they had to, because they were at the back foot at every point. They never knew what was happening on the map, and this just goes to continue complementing Zen, because they are playing the map better. They are playing to what their composition is better. They are playing to what they want to do and not what the enemy thinks they can do and want to do. And it's just, I gotta say, the last 10 minutes have been so beautiful from Zen Esports. Those are 10 minutes that you can show to any team and they can learn things, because those are really nice plays around the map, so really well executed. And I would like teams to take note on that, because that is how you play the map, to take advantage after you were so badly behind at the start of the game. Oh no, Nezumi.
Nezumi going to get blown up. Death Mark gone. Will he be able to find the counter kill? Not quite. Kirito going unstoppable. 5-0-6 on the Zed now. Popping off this game, absolutely. And now 5v4 on the map with Baron. We should be starting to see some more towers go down, I have to feel. We'll just see how quickly that Zen Esports can get back onto the map. But good solo kill in the bot lane.
Yeah,
Will we be seeing more? Angel's going to be blowing up Heyman. Last embrace going to finish him off. Perfect kill. No way out of that one. So just absolute dominance across the map. The Assassins paying off this game.
Yeah, and they're paying off, but not for what we expected them to be paying off, but because Iceborne Esports ended up just giving away so many things that made them be strong. Like, maybe this sounds bad to some degree. I'm not trying to say that Zen didn't earn anything, but it's more like Iceborne ended up just crumbling themselves after a certain point. They just gave away so many things, so much kills, so much unnecessary plays that made the Evelyn be ahead, made the set be ahead, and you were so far ahead that you just gave away things. So engage.
Root gonna land. Curtain call going to go over the top. Will they be able to find the damage? Now it's going to be Jose going onto the front line. Now it's going to be the way back out with the showstopper. First kill of the fight going to go over. 2 kills going to the side of Iceborne Reborn. Will they be able to clean it up? A double kill coming through. On the backside is Kirito, though. He's fed. He's dominating. Will he be able to pick off more? Price going to try to kite the way out of this one. The 90 caliber net going to land, but the shutdown does eventually come through. It's a 4-for-2 so far. Will Kirito be able to clean it up? How much damage has he got? The Zed trying to go through. The Heartbreaker going to try to find his way onto one, but the Godlike for Kirito. Now he's going to be looking for more. Will he be able to get more resets? He's trying to shift his way out. Dodges out. Now will he be able to run away? Does he have flash? No, but it's going to be the shutdown to Frostbite. A 5-for-3 and the ace going over to Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, that fight was really well played by Iceborne. They committed to that fight so well, and really crucially was the fact that Zed wasn't close, and it was close to being a 3v5 after it became a 4v5, but the Zed was never at a position to be able to fight or threaten the Jhin, and so all of the damage was able to be piled on. And really crucially also was the fact that the Stand United wasn't used offensively or defensively, but just was used reactively. And it didn't matter that it came through, because the Shen was already dead by that point. And that is really important to continue winning fights. If Iceborne is able to get another couple of good fights, maybe 1 or 2 more, then they are fully back in the game and they can take it. But right now, there's still chance for Zen to just continue going into it, because there's 2 open inhibitors, Mega Minions will come through, and you have a Zed. If you are able to just put 4 members on the other side of the map and the Zed on the other side as well, then he can just... Oh, no, Jhin is dead.
Okay, yeah, no, he's looks like the engage coming through. Yeah, going to be able to escape. Now on the other side, though, they've got the enemy bot lane showing up, so going to be a firecracker throwing out the root, not landing that time. But now they're looking to see if they can get onto the back line. 4v4 here, so it looks like the fight not quite going to begin just yet. But the last inhib is still exposed, so we'll see if they're going to try to take that one down. Zen Esports walking up, trying to rotate everyone over. They don't want Kirito to be out of the fight at the beginning this time around. Poke damage coming through as well. Oh, look, there's the engage. It's all there. It's the Gale Force. It's the kill going over, and now the inhib will certainly follow. The split push coming through from Zenjoshi, but he always has this Stand United available. It looks like that's going to be the end of that. Elder Drake coming up here in just about a minute, so we'll see if that's going to be the call from the side of Zen Esports.
I think it has to be. It's just that with that Elder Drake, it becomes almost impossible to be able to lose a teamfight with the damage from the Caitlyn. Oh, wait, Caitlyn?
Oh, yeah, Nezumi walking pretty far forward, taking about half health in damage. The inhib will continue to go down, so that means that with the triple inhibs down, 2 super minions spawning in each lane, that's going to be a lot of pressure to deal with. Baron is also on the table, so both major objectives going to be on the map here shortly. Looks like the Baron going up by the side of Zen Esports. With the Elder Drake spawning in 15 seconds, it looks like the call might be to just try to trade it off. I like this from Iceborne Reborn. This may be their only hope of getting one of the objectives, so they're going to try to get that first. Baron already gone down. We'll see how quickly the rotations can come through. The minions are actually going into the base, so this could be dangerous for the side of Iceborne Reborn. We'll see how it's going to work out for them. They're 5-man strong here in the bot side river. Firecracker trying to fish for a binding. Will be able to walk forward and trying to go in with this shackles, trying to find a stun onto one. The Drake gonna go down actually, first kill of the fight, but it's too late. The minions are in the base. It's going to be Zen Esports taking game 1.
Yeah, they committed for the Drake, which is not a bad play to say the least, but they go so far forward for that because the 3 inhibitors were already down really well by the Caitlyn and the Shen to just forget about that. You just go to the base and finish the game, and that's it. They really did well on that, and I once again want to commit Zen Esports because I feel like they played this game as good as they could after the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes were so bad. They were so far behind, and they were being kind of destroyed out of the game. But a couple of misplays from the side of Iceborne Reborn, as well as some really nice plays on the map from the side of Zen, made them be so far ahead that they could win any fight they won, and it was just a macro outplay, in my opinion, from the side of Zen from 10 minutes onwards.
Yeah, very masterful performance on the side of Zen Esports. I think it's definitely a good start to the game from Iceborne Reborn. They came into this with a plan. They got the early jungle advantages, but they were not able to snowball that, continue on the way to the victory. So we'll see what's going to change in the draft going into game 2. Welcome back, everybody. We got Iceborne Reborn on the blue side this time around, and Zen Esports going to be on the red side this time. Zen Esports, of course, taking game one. So, how are we expecting the draft to look different in game two here for Iceborne Reborn?
Already we are seeing some adaptations. The set ban coming through, for example. We need to remember that the set came through as a first pick for Zen Esports. They put a lot of focus on that, and it ended up being good. I don't think it was the main reason why they won, but it certainly was important. So I can see why they would want to ban it away, which is really nice. And also, I'm expecting them to see if they ban the Evelyn away as well, because out of fear, maybe, and not wanting to fight that again, but it seems to be the Caitlyn now.
Yeah, I definitely think that makes sense based on the fact that last game the Caitlyn wasn't taking like a bunch of kills, but the tower pressure that Caitlyn Morgana as the bot duo had was so strong that they were able to kind of like close up some of the early game wounds that we saw from them, and they were able to get into the mid game not as far behind as they might have been if they had just been losing priority in all of their lanes.
Yeah, like you were saying, like there was a lot of things that ended up affecting how the outcome of the game ended up being. So obviously these picks may be a lot reactive to that as well, but I think just having just taking away these picks may just give a little boost in terms of what the mentality for the side of Iceborne Reborn may be, because obviously you can just, it's not completely fault of the picks, but that may as well just ease you up enough to try and play, and that's something that needs to go into consideration as well when going into any draft. I forgot what it was, that thing, but whenever you were going into any pick on man, it's important to keep that in mind as well. Looking into Sin now with the picks, they're going for Yone and Udyr, which is interesting. First of all, the Yone, once again, they are first pick a champion that mainly should go mid lane, but the last time we saw the set first pick and it ended up being useful. So now maybe the Yone is into the same degree, but Yone is to some degree better as well in comparison to the set, because the Yone can scale and he will have a lot more power in terms of overall utility in teamfights, because he can affect a larger amount of champions than just one. So he is more useful in that regard. And the Udyr is a really nice jungler to have overall. He fell a lot in priority, but he's still a nice jungler to use, and he can still clear well and be a stun bot. So it's nice to see him again.
Yeah, anyone with point and click CC is always an option in competitive play like this. Now we're seeing the Xayah come through as an interesting pick. Definitely going to be a little bit safer than last time around on the Jhin, but also going to be a lot more high risk situations to be actually pumping out damage, and a lot different play style. So I'm going to be looking to see what the last two picks are here for Iceborne Reborn, if they're going to go back towards some of these high execution based picks, or if they're going to go more towards some tanks, maybe a control mage as well, to sort of back up this Xayah and front to back sort of team comp.
Yeah, the set kind of does us to some degree, and the Lee Sin is tankier than you actually believe, just because of his current way of playing right now with the Gold Drinker and the Syrax. He's tankier than you think, and he may work well with that as well. But I would also like to see something more tanky, maybe on the jungle position or maybe on the top lane position, and just send the Lee Sin towards the jungle and give that kind of protection to the Xayah, because she already has a get away from jail free card in her ultimate. So having something extra is always nice to see. And now looking into the bans, I'm surprised watching the Yuumi. I know it's a really played support by the Zen Esports, but I'm surprised to see the ban overall. It's not a champion that it's really popping up recently in the meta, and you can go for better support enchanters like Lulu, like the Karma that is banned. So it's kind of surprising to see it up. But the Morgana pick coming through, I like the Morgana last game, and I like her again this game with the Jhin to have pressure on the lane phase, something that ended up being so fruitful for the sign of Zen Esports.
Yeah, I think that the Morgana is really going to heavily punish the Xayah pick. I think last game we saw a little bit of early back and forth before it ended up being the Caitlyn Morgana prevailing in that lane. But really, Xayah is a lot worse situation to try to take early game trades. So I think that Jhin is just as good at being early advantage of pushing the lane. And I'm expecting to see more towers getting under fire in the bot lane from Iceborne Reborn. So we'll see if they're going to be able to maybe get some more jungle pressure to help out there, or how they're going to deal with this. Obviously, they could just sack the entire lane and say, all right, we picked Thresh, we're going to roam it. And we'll see what that's going to be. The Nocturne also picked up, so that's kind of leaves a little bit of flexibility. I think it's Nocturne jungle, and it's going to be a Lee mid and Set top, but we'll see which direction it goes. The Set going to be picked back up by Zen. Worked fine last game, should work fine again this game. So I think a very similar style of comp to last game from Zen, although I might even argue that this time around it's even more powerful since the Yone doesn't fall off. But I think that Iceborne Reborn going towards something a little bit different looking. It's not going to be as heavily execution based. They don't have the split pushers that they had last game with the Gwen and Viego. They might have better tools to go in some 5v5 fights.
Yeah, like you were saying, I think this Zen Esports composition is reminiscent to what they played on game 1, but it feels way more rounded up. They have way more tools, or at least they feel like they have more things to play around with and be useful with, even in the later stage of the game and in the early stage of the game as well. The Udyr will be a powerhouse on the early game. On the mid game, Jhin, Shen, and Yone can shine, and then at the late stages of the game, the Jhin and the Yone will be so powerful with the Morgana that it will be really nice to see. So overall, I really liked how they rounded up the composition. And the Shen, once again, I think Shen, maybe I didn't give enough credit to the Shen last game, but I think that his stand Uniteds were really important in certain fights, and even more so with the Evelynn to try and keep her alive as long as they could, so that she could at least do her damage and doesn't die. The same with the Zed. So I think the Shen coming in once again, it's really nice, and he won't lose lane as hard. So it's a nice neutralizing champion to have on top mid, certainly. One quick thing that I want to add with Iceborne Reborn is that they haven't won any game on blue side. They seem to be a team that do not use first pick or the advantages of having first pick on blue side well enough. And maybe this draft is something as well. Yeah, Lee Sin came in through, but I don't think the power of Lee Sin is the same as when he was first pick worthy. So I'm kind of interested to see if Iceborne can just break that up and now begin winning on blue side, but it's an interesting stat to keep in mind with them. And one extra thing that I want to add with Iceborne is that I'm surprised they picked Thresh when they know that Morgana is on the opposing team. Yeah, your support player may be a good Thresh player, but Morgana is one of your instantaneous counters. It's kind of counterintuitive to just pick a champion that can lose so hard against that specific champion. But they must have so much confidence on the support player to just go into it, knowing that the Morgana is on the other side.
Yeah, and I think that might be speaking to the idea I was having earlier, that they may be just looking for some roaming and sack the entire bot lane in order to try to get more priority around the map in the solo lanes, especially. It looks like the Nocturne may be going top here. Waiting Sucks picked that one up, so it looks like it may be Lee Sin in the jungle, which is something that we haven't been seeing as much of lately, but obviously Lee Sin has classically been a jungler for a long time, so I'm kind of interested to see how the Lee Sin jungle is right now. So I'm very excited to see what's going to come of this. Udyr still is strong jungler, so definitely going to be a worthy adversary. But going back in my mind to last game, we saw Heyman go for some early invades on the Rumble, and actually was very far ahead early after getting the first blood. And I think that throughout the game, the best point on the entire squad for Iceborne Reborn was Heyman Karn. So we'll see if he's going to be able to perform on the Lee Sin as well.
Yeah, and I think one of the crucial things you touched on was the fact that Lee Sin or him and Karn last game was ahead of Evelyn. He was able to get a really nice invade, a couple of really nice invades, and even outfarm the Evelyn because he was so far ahead after the first blood. But come mid game, his impact was way less important in comparison to the Evelyn. He had a double kill on bot lane, and after that, it never amounted to anything more. So I want to see if the Lee Sin maybe gives him more room to play around in the map, try and get and go for certain picks. You will have a Lee Sin and a Nocturne that may work well with the Threshold you were saying as a 3-man gang squad and go from lane to lane to lane to try and set up things and try and win through that. So I want to see what they pull off with the Lee Sin, with the Thresh, with the Nocturne, and see if they can correct their mid-game mistakes and and if they get an advantage early on, just run with that advantage till the later stages of the game and close out the game.
Yeah, and one last point that I think that I hadn't thought about until I saw it's Nocturne versus Shen. Nocturne ult actually can stop Shen ult from being used because if you can't see someone, you can't target them. So that could be a point that can be used throughout this game. We'll see how effectively Waiting Sucks can do that, but I think that being an option is important to keep in mind.
That is honestly a really important point because I'm glad that you bring it up because I haven't thought about that myself either. It's really nice to have something that can negate Stand United, not because it can stop it, but because you can, if the paranoia is timed correctly, you can even use the shield. And that's, I think the idea of having the Shen there is also good, but I think the shield is one of the most crucial parts of that ultimate, and the paranoia can just overall negate the ultimate, even with the Shen being picked. Some may argue that but that may affect in other regards, but this is probably so competitive play, so having communication may affect that as well. But sometimes some Shens do not know that they can just cast the ultimate on targets without actually having to click on them, but instead clicking on the windows. So that may affect the way that the Shen ultimate is used, and that may give an edge for the Nocturne and the side from Iceborne Reborn.
Yep, but with all that said, we're going to go into a short intermission. On the other side is going to be Game 2 of this series between Iceborne Reborn and Zen Esports. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for game number two. We've got on the blue side this time around Iceborne Reborn, and on the red side, Zen Esports trying to make this a 2-0.
Yeah, and from what we saw last game, I think there's a pretty good chance that Sen can pull it off, but I wanna see if Iceborne can just bounce back. They have a good composition to try and force fights. They have a nice AD carry that will do a lot of damage later on. One of the bad things that they don't have is AP damage, and the Shen and the Udyr may just stack armor and try and win through that. But the same can be said to the same to some degree for Sen as well. So that may be something to keep in mind the longer the game goes on.
Yeah, and of course, Udyr has a little bit of the AP with the Phoenix stance, but other than that, quite right that Morgana, the only champion in the game, doing any sort of real damage on the magic side. So we'll see if any of the armor stacking coming through for either side. The way that these teams played last game, it was hard to stack anything because it was such a bloody game, and but I think that we'll see this time around a little bit less aggression from both sides because I think that after last game, a lot of the risks are showing just how much they can be dangerous.
Yeah, quick correction from me because I didn't notice this, but yes, Jone also deals a little bit of magic damage as well, so that may be useful as well in terms of keeping the magic damage to some degree, but it's not as much as a normal AP carry would have.
Hmm. Yeah, so no worries there. I think that the armor's still going to be the stat of choice.
Ooh.
Pretty deep trade coming through early. It was a nice play from Joss to put Price in a little bit of trouble there, but I think that it's going to be just a few pots being chugged and right back to decent amount of health. We'll see if any further comes from this. The jungler's not that much nearby though, so looks just like the
Good.
2v2. Actually, as I say that, the engage continues. Price trying to find his way onto Jase. The ignite ticking down onto Frostbite. We'll see dropping about 200 HP, but not going to be kills just yet. Just a trade of summoners, 3 used on each side.
Yeah, level 2 and they already blowing everything up. I feel like if the Thresh wasn't so trigger happy with Ignite, when they hit level 2, they could have killed the Jhin really easily. But overall, really interesting trade seeing about it. I think it will change for the better for the... Oh, wait. Oof, Kirito.
Kirito in a bit of trouble. Haymaker going to force out the
Flash.
flash. So good trade in the mid lane by Nezumi.
Yeah, overall, I really like the aggressiveness, and he will have the passive regeneration, which is nice to have as a set. They know that Udyr is there.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
2v2. It's the stun. It could be the solo kill. The auto attacks come through. First blood to Nezumi. Now making the way on towards Angels with me, trying to get himself out of this one.
yeah.
The burn coming down. Heyman going to be able to claim that one as he safeguards to award 2-0 in the mid lane fight.
Yeah, and really nice by Nesumi. I think overall it was him setting up that gank to be successful to get the 2 kills. First, blowing up the flash from the Yoni early on. The set will more than likely win those trades just because of his Haymaker and his passive regen. It doesn't matter how many trades the Yoni can pull off. He's not yet at the level and the damage to be able to just outright win those trades against the set. So he loses those trades and then gets flashed on by Nezumi, gets the solo kill really nicely, and because the Udyr was there trying to be able to gank the lane and win something, they had vision, so the Lee Sin could be there to support, and the Lee Sin is now able to get a really nice early kill, and both now the jungler and the mid lane really nicely ahead, and they can do something with their advantage as soon as they hit level 6. What are you
Yeah,
looking for?
a little bit of shades of last game, if you ask
Yeah.
me. A good early play. This time it was Nezumi finding the early advantage, but Heyman Karn definitely nearby that as well, taking advantages. Both the mid and jungler were able to take away one of those kills, so both should be in pretty good position going here towards the spawning of the first Drake.
Yeah, but like you were saying, this is kind of something we already saw before. And for Iceborne Reborn, it wasn't the early game that was bad. It's what comes after. So we need them. We need to see them being able to execute and do more things better from this point onwards.
Yeah, and I think that means that they're going to have to take the advantages that they have in mid and jungle right now and push that out towards the rest of the map. Looks like Heyman going for a little bit of an invade. Will he be able to steal away the big chicken? It looks like that's going to be the case. So we're just going to be able to get a little bit of extra golden experience there and maybe make the enemy jungler a little bit annoyed. But that's how it goes when you're trading in the jungle.
Yeah, really cheeky still from the leasing, but I like that he's going for those kind of plays. We already saw that in the previous game he could go for those invades and get as far ahead as he can. He's setting up a top lane gang, and before that actually commits and they're able to get more, I want us to focus quickly on the set. He has a serrated Dirk as a first item. Is he
Ooh,
trying to go
yeah,
for
that could
lethality or what?
Yeah, it could be something like an eclipse, I guess, but or a prowler's claw might make more sense actually for
Maybe
set.
a Brother's Claw, yeah. Would be surprising.
But whatever the case, it looks like more trades coming through in the mid lane. Actually, this could be trouble. Kirito going to fall once again. Not even time to use the fate seal. The Drake still being 1v1 down. It looks like Angel's going to be able to pick that one up. But right now, the kill score looking 3-0 in favor of Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, and almost everything just coming in from the mid lane. I want to say that even the kill from the Udyr is thanks to mid lane. So yeah, I want to say that Nezumi is putting the pressure on the map and he's doing whatever he can to try and do something. He felt really lackluster on the Viego last game, but this time around the set, he's winning the trades, he's winning the 1v1, and this may be a Prowler's Claw set, so he can probably solo kill really easily 1v1 the Yone and the Jin. So they need to be really careful. There's three targets that can be really susceptible to this.
Yeah, the armor stacking that we were talking about earlier would become very important if we're talking about a lethality set here. I think that building the armor could be useful on several champions. I think seeing some whatever they're called now. They used to be called ninja tabbies, but plated steel caps, I believe, is the term. We should be seeing those coming through from probably
I think
everyone
everyone,
except
yeah,
yeah, probably everyone on the side of Zen Esports this game. Maybe Firecracker going to instead choose the ability haste. But other than that, I think played steel caps the way to go here.
yeah, and I think their value is even far. It's even more important because they will go for lethality items. Lethality items fall off harder than just plain damage because as soon as you get armor, they will be countered more easily. So plated steel caps are really valuable in this game, and any other armor item you can get will be much more valuable than just normal AD.
Angels looking here for a gank. Crest's level 6, but I think not going to be as important when you're talking about an Udyr. Still looking to try to find something. The Black Shield is able to block the hook, but no gank going to be coming through from Angels. So a little bit of wasted time there. Now trades coming through once again in the mid lane. Nezumi getting such a hard advantage here. Looks like a roam has come up, though. Angel's going to be nearby that, trying to set up a gank here potentially. Now roaming in, Nezumi could be in trouble, trying to find his way out of this one. He's got his jungler nearby. Paranoia going to be dropped. Teleport's coming in, but it's going to be the kill coming through before teleport even gets there. Heyman Karn claiming yet another kill in the mid lane.
Oh, nice
Dive could
pick.
be here too. It's the good Dragon's Rage. It's
Oh,
going to be the Stand United trying to find the kill on the back end. Waiting Suck's going to drop here, but now it's going to be the counter kill 1-for-1 on the back end, but it's going to be an overall advantage for Iceborne Reborn.
yeah, sadly, the ones that are still alive are the ones that have most of the gold. They will get this first turret, and they lost so much gold from that. I don't know what they wanted to go for that play because even at 2v1, I don't think they ever win. The set with the Haymaker can just counter that so easily, and he has disarrayed there. There's no real armor resistance from either the Udyr or the Viego or the Yone. So it's not going to matter if you try to go for that 2v2. And that yeah, he completed the Prowler's Claw. So now it's going to be even harder to try and kill that set.
Yeah, and we're seeing lethality also on the side of Heyman Karn, so it looks like
Yeah.
the lethality all around for the side of Iceborne Reborn. And going back to the fight, I think that also might have been important that Kirito was at like 400 health, so even if uh, there's any situation where trying to go for a 2v1 there makes sense, that wasn't it. Like he was not a factor in that fight in any capacity. So just a little bit of poor decision making here in the early stages of this game by Zen Esports. We'll see if the mid game macro buff comes back through for them as it did in game one. They definitely were down by a similar amount and before they started turning the tides in game one. But now it's
Oh,
going to be a gank coming through. Kirito trying to find his way on the back line. Not going to quite connect with the Fate Sealed, but now it's going to be the disengage from the fight.
yeah, they really committed hard for that. They were able to get the flash from the thresh, but not much. And Seth is trying to answer as well as Disney is coming there. They don't know that he's there.
Yeah,
Also,
but it
Nocturne is down.
looks like no fighting going to be occurring in this instant. Drake coming up in 15 seconds, so Prio should be heavily in favor of Iceborne Reborn. Stepping forward a bit is Christ
Ooh.
for the side of Zen, trying to find a little bit of bot Prio here.
A
But it
big
looks
fight.
like over the wall, Heyman Karn waiting to set up the dive. They've got three strong in this jungle. This is not where you want to be. Angels with me going to be in trouble. He's going to be seeing angels because he's on his way to heaven. That's going to be another kill going down. Now the dive going to be started up. Nezumi trying to find his way under the tower, going to pick up the killing streak. He's going to be in trouble though, giving over the shutdown on the route. So it's going to be 2-for-1 so far. Curtain call going to open up. Shots going in, not going to be enough to land any kills. Still 4 men strong in the bot side is Iceborne Reborn starting up this Ocean Drake. Will they have the health bars? It looks like an engage could be coming through. Kirito trying to set it up.
Oh,
Now it's the Paranoia over the top trying to find his way onto the enemy AD carry. Now it's going to be a kill going over to Waiting Sucks. One traded back for Kirito trying to find more. Make it
oh,
a double. Now the knockup's coming through. Going to flash his way out. Not going to be enough to tick down. Heyman Karn now working on the damage coming through in the 2v2. Waiting Sucks going to drop around 400 health, but now it's going to be re-engaged. Nezumi is in once again on the back line, going to be able to pick up another kill. The Haymaker comes through. It's a double 3-for-0 on that portion of the fight. Now the Soul Shackle is going to come up. Firecracker going to be able to disengage, but a huge fight going to go in the favor of Iceborne Reborn.
yeah, such a disjointed fight, but overall a really nice win by Iceborne Esports. Every Fed member there was really important. The Nocturne, the Lee Sin, and even though the Set died at the start of that Dragon capture and he gave away a shutdown, he still was able to come back because he has teleport, something that the Yone doesn't have, and will never be able to answer as well as the Set will. Oh,
Oh, this is too much of an overextension. Price going to be
way too
actually
much.
able to dodge the hook. Maybe going to be able to walk away from this one. Stand United coming through. Angels nearby as well. This could turn into a 3v3 real quick. Now the Blade Caller going to find a double root. This could be enough for the disengage. Joss, they could be in
Oh,
trouble
what an
though.
escape.
Dragon's Rage
He's dead.
through the entire team, and now the re-engage coming through. Heyman Karn going to turn it around, going unstoppable. A 1-for-0. Another fight coming through in favor of Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, and this time around in this game, we are seeing another phase from Iceborne because they got the early advantage, yeah, but they are responding better to what the mid game calls for, setting up the objectives, going for plays, having more agency towards what they want to do with the advantage they have. Maybe it's the change of champions because giving the Lee Sin and the Zed gives more playmaking ability at the mid game in comparison to a Viego and a Rumble because now you cannot go for certain flashy plays. But I think also the fact that the Caitlyn is not, so you're playing with a Jin that cannot do so much consistent damage in comparison is also affecting them.
Yeah, Jin more of an ability-based champion, and while Caitlyn does a lot of damage with abilities, has a lot more attack speed as well, so can take down those towers importantly more
Yeah.
quickly. Nezumi's going to take this tower down, and Zenjoshi's going to be there. So we'll see if it's going to be the Paranoia trying to come into range, going to be able to land this time around. Zenjoshi trying to find his way out of this one. The fleet comes through. The fear is there.
Oh,
The
he's alive.
Haymaker not going to be quite enough. Fate Sealed going to land. Now it's going to be the Showstopper trying to find some kills. Nezumi going to pick one up. Traded back, though. Shutdown's going through. Kirito picking one up. And now it's going to be the disengage 1-for-1. But importantly, the shutdown going over to the mid laner of Zen Esports.
Yeah, the crucial part is the shutdown going for the Yone, like you were saying, because now he should be able to get close to his shield wall, which will make him be able to fight more at ease. And he also needs a couple of levels because he's just level 10. I think the set is level 11 right now, and that can also turn the things around. Also, Shen on the top lane is level 9 in comparison to the Nocturne, which is level 10. Those level 2 ultimates may be really more impactful for the side of Zen as soon as they get them. There's level 2 Stand United and the level 2 Fate Sealed.
Look at all of these plated steel caps coming through TDS. It makes me smile. They understand the situation. Both sides actually going. It looks like it'll be 4 plated steel caps for both sides. Firecracker, the last to complete the tier 2 boots, but definitely indexing into some of that armor. And I'm happy to see this because it means that the teams are not just blindly buying their items.
Yeah, I think maybe the one exception would be the Kirito with the Yone not going for them, but you can make an argument for that because the Berserker Greaves does give more damage boost to the Yone, and that is still something important to keep in mind. So I think that makes sense for him to not fully go blindly to that. But the rest of, like you were saying, the rest committing for the plated steel caps is really important, and I think that maybe not that much of a difference, but that may be important fact in team fights.
Is that a wave clear curtain call? A little bit strange, not something that I normally would expect to see.
Yeah.
Not going to be available now is the Drake spawning in about 20 seconds. One Drake to both sides so far, so not going to be as early of a soul point this time around. But it is going to be a Cloud Soul yet again, so we'll see if the team's going to be committing a lot of resources towards that. It looks like the resources have been committed by the side of Iceborne Reborn for this one, and right now, probably not the best idea to fight for this one if you're the side of Zen Esports, so it looks like they may be just giving this one up, and I think that's the right call.
Yeah, I agree. They, like you were saying, they this time around they have a Drake themselves, so they don't need to commit for that Drake. Yeah, I think losing this turret is worse than just losing the Drake because they had. Oh no, Morgana is alone.
Yeah, fortunately, Black Shield is up. Now it looks like an engage coming through from Nezumi, though, trying to blow up the enemy AD carry. Now it's going to be the Stand United coming through. It's a 3v1. Now the taunt's coming through. It's going to be the kill going over to Zenjoshi, a little bit too far forward on that set. Going to be vulnerable to some kills coming through, and that is just what happens here.
Yeah, and he has a lot of damage this time around. The Prowler's Claw was used on a minion to try and get the play out, but if you cannot get a solo kill or the kill instantly, you're not a tanky. If more members collapse on you, you will die. Your Haymaker was used so prematurely that it wasn't a useful shield to try and survive, and then you're just a sitting duck trying to wait to die. Really kind of random play by Nezumi. I don't think that was necessary, especially because you already secured the turret, you had the Drake, and the rest of your team was collapsing on the Morgana. So you were never going to receive that much help coming from the rest of the team that quickly. So really random play from Nesui for me.
Yeah, that was the type of thing that we saw last game that kind of led to the downfall of Iceborne Reborn after their strong early game. This time around, they've got a much bigger cushion to work with, so one play like that is certainly not going to turn the tide on its own. But we need to not see it, things like that continuing to pop up. They need to get themselves under control, find plays that make sense and aren't going to be as risky, and just continue to hold this 6,500 gold lead and extend that as the objectives come up, but not try to push for too much.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I think they can go for plays and they should try and go for plays. It's just go for plays when you know that you have the help from your team as well, or you know that there's no chance that the enemy can respond. But that is probably something that will never be the case just because the Stand United exists. That is an ultimate that will be a factor in the game, and if you cannot have something that can counter, whoa.
Ooh, Christ going in pretty deep here, but now it's going to be re-engaged. Heyman going to blow one up. Frostbite going to finish off that kill. Flash forward into the Sonic Wave. Heyman Karn going dominating. Excellent display of skill on this Lee Sin, going to be picking these kills up, and they're going to be pushing down the mid lane once again.
Yeah, really random play mid lane. They go both over commit, I think, for just the Saya alone. When you know that the Saya has her ultimate, she didn't even need to use ultimate to be alive, to keep herself alive. It was just them committing for something that will never be fruitful and then dying. Really random play from Sen.
Not what you want to see. Zen Esports were so good with the mid-game macro last time around, but this time maybe looking a little bit desperate. We talked about the desperation last game, but the desperation this time around has switched sides. It looks like a lot more calm and reserved play from Iceborne Reborn, but now trying to find a recreation of last game. Aggression coming through this time from Zen Esports, and that was just the thing that was being punished last time around. It's getting punished on the other side this time.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that it's kind of worrying for me is that it's the team that has the better late game that are recurring to going for more desperate plays. Because last game it was Iceborne Reborn that had a better late game. Yeah, they were against certain champions, and yes, some of their champions were really bad, like Rumble come late game, but you still have a better late game in comparison. And yet you throw it away for desperate plays. Now the side from Sin, which has a better late game in my opinion, is kind of being way too desperate with some of the plays that they're pulling off, and they need to fight as a unit instead of just going for certain picks. I think the side that beneficiates more for going for picks and small skirmishes is the Lee Sin, the Nocturne, the set, not the Yone, the Udyr, the Shen that wants to fight. Oh no.
Ooh, Angels is on ward. He's going to be in trouble. Going to try to find his way out of this one. The Stand United coming in. The team's trying to come forward. The Flash over the wall. Going to find his way out. The Roots coming through. And that is enough to find a disengage. The Flash and the Stand United going to be blown in this one.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty much Drake. It's 30 seconds away, but you lose a really important cooldown on the Stand United and the flash from the Udyr, and they're walking way too far forward. Whoa.
Yeah, it looks like Christ's going to try to catch out Frostbite. Frostbite's a little bit far forward. Teleport's coming in now. It's going to be a good paranoia. Good Flays coming through as well. Frostbite going to pick up the first kill of the fight. Kirito trying to find his way back out of this one. Trying to find the kill under Jase, but he's not going to have enough damage. It's 2-0 so far in favor of Iceborne Reborn. Now they're trying to continue the push forward. Now the Root going to come through. Firecracker going to be hit by the Sonic Wave. Heyman going to find himself yet another kill. Angel's going to have to walk himself out of this one, but a 3-0 as Iceborne Reborn claiming control yet again.
Yeah, and it's not only a 3-0, it's a 3-0 and a Drake soul point. Really important to get. It's a Cloud Soul, yes, but it's still a soul. You want to secure it, so it's nice for them to be able to secure this. And once again, we were talking about this desperation coming through from the side of Sen. Jin uses his only escape tool, the Gale Force, trying to kill the Saya that has Featherstorm still. She still has Featherstorm, Gale Force, and Flash. You are committing your only escape tool to try and kill a target that has 3 escape tools. Why are you trying to go for this kind of plays when as soon as he fails, the rest of the team goes on top of him and you cannot escape anymore? You're a sitting duck, you're a Jin, you don't have any way to run away. And as soon as they commit for that, everyone else just goes in, tries and fight for something, and ends up dying. So overall, just really, really huge blunders and really massive desperation coming in from Zen Esports this game.
Yeah, not even a Stand United available to back that one up.
Yeah.
I think that Jin engaging is probably not very often the right call, especially from behind. But at least do it when you have Stand United available if you're going to do it. But whatever the case, it's going to be the posturing beginning around this Baron. That is the next major objective that you are going to be looking for if you're the side of Iceborne Reborn. So making sure to be around the area. So Zen Esports making sure that it's not going to be taken from under their nose. But good control wards coming through, making sure that the vision is going to be denied in the pit as the posturing continues. And the split push actually coming through from Waiting Sucks has the teleport available. So we'll see how much he's going to get as the posturing continues around this Baron. Vision starting to be denied in the enemy jungle. Walking forward is Nezumi. Still very strong on this set, but looks like just going to walk back is the side of Zen Esports. As now finally the Baron going to be started up, but will it going to be
They don't
contested?
have a clue.
They don't have vision. There's no way for them to walk up to it even, and they still have a pretty good idea that Waiting Sucks is on the backside. Now the blue trinket going to spot it out. The fight could be beginning here soon. Jose going to get hit by the deadly flourish. Could be in some trouble here. Rooted up for quite a while. Going to be able to survive the paranoia onto the back line. A huge showstopper going to do tons of damage. Shredding through the enemy team is Heyman trying to finish this one off. 2 for 0 so far. Waiting Sucks going to go into the back line. Price going to be the next one in trouble. Now it's going to be the whole team running towards Zen Josh. He got nowhere to go. Going to be picked off once again. Actually, the disengage comes through as we see the curtain call over the top. But a 2 for 0 is the Iceborne Reborn continuing to assert dominance.
Yeah, they once again we see the side from Zen trying to go for a fight. This time around it felt a little bit more doable since they were focusing on the Shen, but Paranoia comes through, the set comes in, and you just pile the damage on top of everyone and they will die. Once again, everyone was kind of out of position and they cannot fight. Your Jone is so far behind that he cannot do anything at all in these teamfights. I think he died without actually using his R. He feels more like a liability in comparison to what the set was last game. And with this Baron, I'm not sure. The Drake is coming up in 130. I'm not sure if they can finish the game with this Baron, but they will surely be able to secure the Drake. And I think that can push them over the finish line when the Elder comes through and they can finish with that.
Yeah, as long as they don't kind of run it, then I totally agree with that. I think that maybe even a 5-man group might be in order for the side of Iceborne Reborn to find this push with the Baron and make sure that they're not going to give up any picks before the Drake comes up. But it looks like right now they're just trying to farm out the jungle, maybe get Waiting Sucks in the side lane to try to push it out. The bot lane here, as they have the priority over that, will be helpful over the Drake spawning. But we'll see just how effective they are in setting up this push. It looks like they may be setting up a 1-3-1 actually. Nezumi, no teleport right now. So if he does go out to this top lane, that would be an indication that they're not going to send 5 people to the Drake. But they may not need 5 people. They're definitely in a position where they could be close to winning a 4v5, especially with Heyman being 10-0 on this Lee Sin.
Yeah, we haven't talked much about, but Heyman this game has been so much more impactful with the Lee Sin in comparison to what he did with the Rumble. Just feels like he can probably pull off more plays and he seems more comfortable with it as well. I think it's one of his most played champions, so it makes sense.
Yeah. I think that the Rumble definitely wasn't a bad pick, but the team wasn't good enough around him to set him up to use it properly. Lee Sin, you don't need the team to set up around you for. So actually, Zen Joshi just spent teleport to go up and answer the top side. So the Baron push has been effective. They decided to go with the split instead of hard committing for the 5-man, but they are getting stuff out of it. The double cannon's working on this top inhib tower. So Nezumi going to be perfectly fine with being here for the moment. And meanwhile, it's going to be the Drake taken down. Soul available now. Angel's trying to walk forward, trying to find this fight onto Nezumi. It's going to be 2 beefy boys against this lethality set. So we'll see if he's going to be able to take down any of them. The Deadly Flourish going to land. It's finding the roots, but the low health bar is now available. It is the first kill of the fight going over to Kirito. But now Heyman is here. He's going to find 1. He's going to find 2. Will it be enough to turn the fight? It looks like it has been, as the health bars are low on the side of Zen. They're going to have to run themselves back into the fountain, and the inhib tower is sure to fall as the curtain call coming over the top, and the inhib goes down as well. The health bars pretty low from the bot lane on the side of Iceborne Reborn, so they will have to back themselves out of this one, but they are able to take down the top inhib.
Yeah, and they also have the soul, so they can move around really easily. Their ultimates will be even much less cooldown now, so that's also a plus. And they really don't need to overcommit. They got the top in him. Like I was saying, I didn't expect them to be able to finish with this Baron particularly, but they were able to open the base, even if they lost Nezumi. This is kind of their best point now because they will have the pressure with the Nocturne and the set that is close to having the TP completed to be able to just have the Mega Minions come in. If the side from Zen overcommits on a play on the other side of the map, they can just TP to those minions and try and finish the game through that. So there's always that chance. And right now, Iceborne is just so in complete control of the map and the game that it will take a couple of blunders to just give away the game. They're 15k ahead right now.
Yeah, and no towers have been taken by the side of Zen Esports either. So
Yeah.
even if they're able to get picks, they have a lot of work to do to get anywhere close to the base. And then looks like they may be the ones getting picked off. It's a good hook going to land. The showstopper going to continue the fight, and Heyman going to pick up another kill for himself. The pick goes through, and Iceborne Reborn once again are at a numbers advantage on the map.
Yeah, and they didn't have to commit that much. Yeah, the paranoia was kind of over committing because you didn't really need that to just secure the kill, but you still have your dragon kick, you still have your thresh hooks and the cage, so you have every tool to be able to just pull this turret and go for a play on any of the members of the enemy team.
Yeah, paranoia prevents stand united, so I support it. Now it looks like another pick going to come through. Heyman picking himself up. One more. Angels into the backline going to be in trouble. Zen Josh delivering himself to the enemy team. Frostbite has started to do some work on this Zaya as well. Nezumi still very strong as well, going to pick that one up. And now the base beginning to crumble for the side of Zen Esports. They need to find a miracle engage. It looks like Kirito's going in. Fate Sealed going to try to pick up anything, but he hasn't got the damage. He hasn't got the numbers. Nezumi going to find another kill. Showstopper into the Nexus Fountain, and it's going to be a little bit too late for Zen Esports as they pick up a couple kills on the back end here. Maybe, just maybe, they'll stay alive a bit longer, but the Nexus is certainly on the menu here. Iceborne Reborn trying to finish this up. Crux actually doing some damage, trying to keep game just at this moment. Josh taking a play. Curtain call available. Now it's going to be another kill, so maybe not over just yet.
Yeah, not over yet. A little bit too much fun, I think, going into the fountain without actually finishing the game. But there's still so much chance for the side of Iceborne to just close out this game. They still have double teleport. You have a set, a Nocturne that can just go win. You can just paranoia and just walk into the base, and that's it. But maybe there's still a miracle that could be pulled off by Sen, but they're just so far behind that I don't think that it could happen.
Yeah, it would definitely be quite the comeback of all time if they're able to come back from this. They're down all the structures versus not having taken any structures. They're down the soul, and they're down a monumental gold disadvantage, which 13,000 is on its own enough of a gold lead to make it almost insurmountable, but with all the other map state factors on top of that, I think that we'll be seeing this Baron go down, and after that, not going to be very long until we see the end of the game as well.
Yeah, it just feels like a couple extra steps to be able to clear out the game, but I think maybe this will help them, not only with the part about winning, but also because this may boost their confidence up for the next game, because if this ends up being a win, you still have a third game, and if you win that, you will be so poised. Okay, Morgana walks forward.
Oh yeah, it's going to be the Soul Shackles, but it's not going to connect to its targets. Frostbite finishing off the kill. Now it's going to be a 2v4 in the backline, but no kill is going to come through until the rest of the squad is here. Double for Frostbite, maybe trying to find a pentakill before it's over. A triple going over now. Burning through the health bars. Will Zen Josh be able to get back to Fountain? The kill going over. No penta this time. So sad for Frostbite, but the game goes over to Iceborne Reborn.
Yeah, I gotta say, I wasn't expecting this. I really thought that the side from Zen would be able to close this out as a 2-0, but really nice turnaround from Iceborne. They did like they did in the last game, but not only did they get that lead, but they were able to push it forward. And that's one of the more critical things that I think this game had in comparison to the previous one. I think also Heyman was more comfortable with the Lee Sin, so he could play better. And Frostbite had a more safe champion. Every time that they tried to go for a play on him, he just ran away. He didn't even need to use Featherstorm, but there was always the security of the Featherstorm, the Gale Force, the Flash. You had all those tools to try and survive. And I'm beginning to feel like the Jhin is a trap pick. It hasn't been doing that much right now. It hasn't been doing almost anything in the series at all at this point. And I feel like you're just so out of position every time, and you ended up dying almost always, that it's just so insecure to have in comparison to other champions.
Yeah, we'll see if the team's going to be able to pick up on that as we're going into game three. But before we get into draft for game three, we're going to have a short intermission. On the other side, going to be the conclusion of the series. Zen Esports won, Iceborne Reborn won. We'll just have to see what happens. Game three, exciting. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for Game 3. Zen Esports going to be back on the blue side for this one. Iceborne Reborn will be on the red side. We're just about to get into draft, and we've got a long series here, TDS. What are you looking at for this Game 3?
First, I'm looking at the bans. We're seeing a couple of response bans because of what happened in the first two games. The set coming in for I think it was the Israel. I'm not completely
Ezreal,
sure.
yeah.
But yeah, one of those open up, and from the side of Iceborne Reborn, it's still the Kaylin and the Set. So now there's kind of more power picks being opened up for this first series. I like the Kaylin ban. I think the Kaylin was one of the reasons why the first game, they had Sen had so much pressure off their map. She was able to just push towers, and that ban makes complete sense. And now Sen once again takes the lead. I think the jungler from Sen, the jungler from Iceborne really played really well with the Lee Sin, so I like that takeaway. But now they are able to respond with an Ezreal, which is a really strong AD carry and was banned in the last games.
Yeah, so Lee Sin this series has been pick banned. It was first picked last game by Iceborne, and then in the first game they actually banned it away on red side. So that means every time it's either been banned by red side or first picked blue. And Lee Sin pretty versatile. I think that mostly we've been seeing it in solo lanes, but obviously it was played jungle last game, so it'll be interesting to see if that's flexed around here. But it looks like the Ezreal picked up as it was not banned away this time, so that makes sense from Iceborne Reborn. And I think Ezreal, definitely the way that they've been playing their bot lane makes a ton of sense. They want to have a defensive pick with a lot of escapability and just try to farm it out. So it looks like the Jhin going to be picked up here again by Zen Esports. And we talked about that maybe being a trap pick. Has actually been on the losing team in both of the first two games. So if it's on the losing end again here in Game 3, then that would be a note to keep in mind for Zen Esports going forward.
Yeah, I agree. I maybe harp a little bit too much on the Jhin, but I feel like just felt so bad to watch. It's just it isn't safe enough if you blow the flash, and the Gale Force, it's good, but it's not super useful. There's a lot of ways to be able to pry on him, and on laning phase, yeah, he may have the push, but he isn't a tower taker, so his impact falls a lot. And he can scale really well, but I think there's better scaling AD carries as well, so I don't know what he currently covers, as utility is not that much valued right now in an AD carry, more so than just either early game prowess or just super huge carry potential. And that's not too much of what Jhin can offer. Maybe on the early game side a little bit, but not that much on the late game side, I think, in comparison to other champions. And I think Ezreal right now is just such a huge power pick that there's a few champions that can answer him. One being Varus, that I'm surprised it hasn't been picked in this game. And others that, like the Kaylin, may have been a good answer against the Ezreal. Obviously, I'm not sure how the lane probably goes, but I think Kaylin was really nice for Sen, and they could have played it as well, but it's banned. So I'm going to stay skeptical on the Jhin. He may prove me wrong, and he may be a pick important, but right now I'm not completely sure. I like the Karma pick, and the Thresh. Last game for Iceborne Reborn, the Thresh was nice seeing. He had a couple of good hooks. And I think that it's a good comfort pick for the support. I think that's the main reason why they're picking it up, but I like the Karma a lot, and I like the Lee Sin a lot from the side of Sen.
Yeah, so far Iceborne Reborn, going back to some of the things that worked last game, having the Thresh available, and then Ezreal's a scaling AD carry, and I think probably stronger than Xayah, so nothing to say bad about that. And Udyr are going to be interesting to contrast against the Lee Sin and Rumble that we've seen so far from Heyman, as he's been probably the strongest carry for Iceborne Reborn in both games, even though they lost game 1. But we'll see if he's going to be able to carry with the Udyr, or if they're going to be looking to take a counter pick in the mid lane and set themselves up to actually try to carry through mid lane instead, as Nezumi was very good last game as well on the set.
I agree. I would like them to give the counter pick to mid lane, because Nezumi did perform really well on the set. Yeah, it's banned now, but I think him having priority and having resources to play around him seemed like a good choice. To me, the first 5 minutes of the game, the first 3 kills that they got on mid lane, was all him being able to create not only pressure but really nice trades against Sen's mid laner. So I really hope that they give him a good counter pick. But Sen going really aggressive with a Darius and an Echo pick. Two really nice split pickers and a really aggressive top laner to pair him up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going back to kind of similar to what worked in the first game. Of course, the picks looking a little bit different. No Zed or Caitlyn available. But they've got a bot lane that's theoretically very strong early. I mean, the Karma is very hard to play against with anything. So the Thresh definitely not going to be winning that 1v1 easily. And Jhin definitely in more of an early game style pick than Ezreal. Interesting here that we're seeing the Lucian come out, so it's going to be double 80 carries for Iceborne Reborn. I definitely don't mind this, but I don't think that this is probably the best comp to choose it against. But it'll be interesting to see how that works out. Anyways, going back to the point that I was making about Zen's comp, they've got the same idea where they've got a lot of champions that could just burst through the enemy team. And right now it's looking like Cho'Gath is going to be the main tank. Other than that, definitely some squishy members that can be blown up.
Yeah, and with the idea of the double AD carry, I think it's mainly for pressure. Not mainly the Ezreal, but the Lucian. Because top lane will not have... I don't think top lane will have a winning matchup, at least until level 6, when Cho'Gath can just begin trading better against the Darius and can put pressure with his fist. So that is kind of out of the question. And on bot lane, it's really a coin toss after a certain point. Because Jhin and Karma will have the push. They will be able to just outpush naturally a Thresh and an Ezreal. But if one ever falls for a hook, they can die really easily. So bot lane is more of a coin toss after a certain point. And mid lane, they needed to have this kind of pressure to give the leeway for the Udyr to try and play around the map. Because that's something that I think they did really well last game, giving the leeway for their jungler on the Lee Sin to be able to just move around the map, do plays, do whatever he wanted. And this way around, they can keep kind of the same idea and also have a strong 2v2 in the Lucian and the Udyr until a certain point.
Yeah, and looking at the first two games, I think that Iceborne Reborn showed very strong early game planning. So, like, we saw in the Rumble that we had invade, find a kill in the enemy jungle, and then turn that into early advantages, and they were successful in that. And then they did the same thing with the mid lane 2v2 in the second game, and they were able to snowball through that. So I'm wondering on the side of Zen if they're going to actually find ways to react to that, if they're going to get enough planning in the early game. I think that the early game pathing from Heyman has been a lot of what's dictated the pace of these games. So it might be important for Angels to get into the enemy jungle and set up deep vision at level 1. So they might need to go for like a full 5-man invade just so that they can get that vision, try to figure out what's going to happen.
Yeah, like you were saying, one of the key things that I think you talked about is Heyman has been dictating the pace on what happens in the early stages of the game. And maybe this time around, they will try and take the initiative to what they really want to achieve with that early game. Maybe just clearing 3 camps with the Lee Sin and then feeding the Darius as much as they can, so that he can be a raid boss and you cannot kill the Darius. Because if Darius gets fed, it's going to be really easy to just put pressure on the top lane. That's a play to go for. But I agree with you in the sense that I want to see Angels with me try and change how the early game will be played. Because if he falls behind as a Lee Sin, it's not going to be pretty. You can fall behind to a certain degree with the Evelynn, but you will still have your ultimate that will have a 200% execute and will be really valuable in the later stage of the game. And she scaled better than the Rumble in comparison. But the Lee Sin, on the jungle particularly, does not scale better than the Udyr. So he needs to put pressure in some way, and he needs to find the avenues to make the early game be as good as possible for Esports.
Especially when you consider that the champions around him are all also early game. That is so important for them to be able to get early advantages both times. as I was saying before, we saw advantages coming through in the early game for Iceborne Reborn, and one of the times it was Zen fighting back, and really they were kind of handed that to some degree by just a little bit of oversteps. And to be honest, both sides have been overstepping to some extent throughout this series, and it could just come down to macro execution. But if that's not what ends up happening, then early advantage is going to be required if Zen wants to win this game.
Yeah. And maybe their early advantages are not what ended up deciding this game, because we have seen in the first game that they just moved around the map well enough that they could just cover for what their fallacies were on the start of the game. So maybe they can play through that. It's just that it's kind of that thing at the back of your head when you just feel bad if that ends up happening, because then it's harder and harder for you. So I hope they can play well enough through the start of the game, get an advantage, and through that win the game. Because if not, the better late game composition is totally the side from Iceborne Reborn. Like, I think it's pretty obvious that they have not only the double AD carries, but they have the continuously scaling tank in the Cho'Gath, and the Thresh will be valuable as well, and the Udyr as well. So if at the end of the day it ends up being a competition for who can win the late game, I would side totally with Iceborne Reborn, and I think they have just so much of an easier to execute composition with that.
Yep, and with all that said, it's about time to go into our last break of the night. On the other side, we're going to have Game 3, Zen Esports, Iceborne Reborn, winner going to take the series. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for game three. We've got Zen on the blue side. On the red side is Iceborne. Going to decide who's going to win this series. As we talked about earlier, both teams 1-1 in a huge tie right now, and every game going to matter. So this one going to be of utmost importance to see who's going to come away with the win.
Yeah, and it's not only just because of the current tie, but any tiebreaker that comes up in the coming weeks is going to be really important to have the head-to-head against almost any team that will most likely be in that tie competition. So this game is really fundamental, and already we see a pretty conservative start. Each side just waiting on the jungle to be able to start a game. They're not going for any deep wards or any kind of cheese invade to try and get an advantage. And I think this benefits the side from Sen because they weren't the proactive team. They weren't the proactive early game team. So having this kind of easy leeway for the Lee Sin to start maybe will let him do whatever he wants and wants to achieve.
Yeah, it depends on the execution though, because Heyman has been very
Right.
strong about finding things that are unexpected. So if he's able to sneak into the top side with another invade, not get caught on the ward, it looks like the ward is coming through on the blue buff. So a little bit of smart play there from Joshy to make sure that they're going to be able to spot out any sort of invade. But the no aggression means that there's a little bit less pressure to keep Heyman away from the invades on the jungle.
Yeah, that I was thinking that maybe that early ward from Yoshi on the blue buff may mean that that Angels with me would try and go for an early invade towards the bottom side of the jungle and try and secure something from there. Maybe the blue buff or steal something like that with the Lee Sin. Yeah, he doesn't clear as fast as the Udyr, but maybe he could have pulled off that. We're seeing right now that it's not going to be the case, and he's just going for a full clear, which is kind of surprising with Lee Sin particularly.
Yeah, actually, I was expecting that the early pressure would be in favor of Zen, but right now they're kind of getting pushed
They're
in bot
rotating.
and mid.
Yeah.
So I think that the least or not the least the Lucian last pick is going to be meaning more than I might have expected because I didn't realize this, but it looks like he's got Echo pretty well beat at least in the early stages of this one. Joshy looking for a pretty deep trade here, trying to bleed out waiting sucks, make him back off of some of these CS.
Yeah, and I think it's important to notice right now some of the summoners. The Yoshi is going for Ghost, not TP, so he will have more clear pressure on the Cho'Gath than if he had the TP. And also, the other is running Ghost and press the attack, so he's going for a more aggressive version of it. This in mid lane.
Angel's looking for a gank, not going to land the parallel convergence. Kirito dropping pretty low, but it looks like the spacing going to be enough for Nezumi to walk himself out of this one.
Yeah, the setup on mid lane is really hard to get because you need to hit that stun on the Echo, and if the Echo misses, I don't think you have enough lockdown to be able to kill the Lucian. He can just run away with his dash. Ooh, flash for stop.
Ooh, Joshy forcing that flash. Yeah, good apprehend actually, making waiting sucks back off with that flash. So
Are you going to
Joshy
dive?
finding some early advantages, maybe trying to dive, not going to allow himself to get hit by the rupture, but now he's got
He's
a
missing.
dive buddy with him. Angel's going to try to find his way under this tower, going to
Yeah,
walk forward. Sonic Wave, good rupture going to knock him off. Now the slow's
dead.
coming through. The minions going to block his way out. Waiting Suck's going to be able to take one on the back side of that fight. A 1-for-1 trade in the top lane.
Yeah, and even though it's a one for one trade, it's still nice for the Darius because he will have the pressure on the lane and he can continue pushing this. The Cho'Gath had to back, he's just on 2 ruby crystals. He will just be able to push this wave. And if he's backing now, he doesn't need the TP. He will have 1,000 gold. He will be so far ahead of the Cho'Gath and he can just continue trading. He's already 18 CS ahead.
Yeah, he's going to just get more damage as well as he's probably going to pick up a longsword, ruby crystal at least, maybe boots on top of it if he's got enough money. So I think that he'll tell. Oh, he's just gotten full plated steel caps. So never mind. He's just. I'm gonna stop analyzing what's going on at the bottom of my screen because it seems to be a little bit changing. It looks like he's done now, but some stuff coming through anyways. The Kindle gem plus boots is still more than 2 ruby crystals. So, whatever the case, should be good for trades.
Yeah, I not gonna lie, I like the idea of the steel plate of the plated steel caps because that way you can not only deny some of the damage from the Cho'Gath, some of the auto attack damage that he will be able to deal, but also from the Udyr, which now makes you more invulnerable on top lane, and you can win trades more easily. But I think this is still nice. You can still win trades so easily, like he's doing already, and he will keep winning trades like that constantly. So much damage.
Yeah,
He has
especially if
ultimate
he
hit there.
keeps dodging those ruptures like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, he's definitely winning out on these trades.
Udyr?
Heyman showing up though, going to try to find a gank. Joshi cresting level 6 means that
What's
he's
the solution?
got access to the Noxian Guillotine, and that looks like it's just going to be the disengage. So good gank attempt there from Heyman, going to at least allow Waiting Sucks to try to pick up this wave. And on the other side of the map, Angels with me going to pick up this first Drake of the game. Once again, Zen Esports 3 for 3 on first Drakes. We'll see if they can take that advantage into this later stages of this game.
Yeah, so such a nice trade from Nesumi. And like you were saying, they get the Drake once again, and this is so because of how much pressure Joshi has right now. He already had a lot of advantage before anything happened, but because of that kill, he was able to just get even more. They went for 2-man gank. Oh wait, they're starting a 3-man gank.
Yeah, it looks like the
Drake is
top
here.
lane is not done just yet. Joshi trying to find his way out in this 1v1. Rupture going to be flashed away, and the hook not going to land. So Joshi outplaying the 1v3.
Yeah, and they commit so much for that. They committed the flash from the Thresh, the ghost from the Udyr, and maybe not something from the Cho'Gath, but they also committed time from the Thresh out of lane. And right now, Ezreal is getting a lone XP and all that, but the Thresh is not getting that. Maybe he will be able to get before and not actually lose anything. But overall,
Ooh,
I think it's
Nezumi
a
getting
really
stunned up.
solution.
He's going to go
Oh,
down. Kirito with the solo kill in the mid lane.
yeah, and just like that, I'm surprised that ended up happening. Nesumi dies alone against the Echo that he was winning in the matchup, and that may turn around the matchup so easily because Echo is an assassin. We can't forget that fact. Yeah, the Lucian can have pressure on the lane, but if you died alone to the assassin, you're going to suffer much more in the continuation of the game.
Absolutely. And it looks like trades coming through in the bot lane now. The hook lands. This means that it could be
Whoa.
an all-in. Firecracker in trouble here. Taking down is the ignite. One more auto attack. Shield in time, but it's going to be the culling finishing off the kill. Nezumi taking a bunch of damage onto Christ as well, and that means that it's going to be back even on the kill score. Not going to be able to land that hook. Dive potentially coming through though. Nezumi no ult. Root coming
You have
down under tower. Jase
both.
is already down now. Christ going to be under 100 HP, but 2 turret shots
Coming
landing
through.
onto Nezumi. Heal coming through. Now the flank. Kirito has arrived. He's trying to find his way in onto Nezumi. One more auto attack potentially, but
Oh,
the too much damage in time is the chrono break trying to get himself out. Now it's going to be a 2v1 in the top side. The gank coming through. Dunks down. Now Nezumi going to be in trouble.
good.
Kirito actually going down, but Christ still in the fight, trying to finish off one more kill. Deadly Flourish not going to
Good
land.
karma.
Frostbite trying to dodge his way around this one, not going to be able to. A double kill coming through, and now even more coming through. Angels with me actually trying to steal away that Herald. He is successful, and he picks up the kill. Chaos across the map. 5 for 1, I believe, as the fight goes to the favor of Zen.
Yeah, everywhere in the map, like you're talking about, chaos all over the map, but it's a chaos that Zen is winning everywhere. They get the 2 kills on bot, they get 3 kills on bot lane, the kill on the Cho'Gath, and then Lee Sin comes in, steals the Herald from the Udyr when he was the one that was doing it, and then also kills the Udyr. It's just disaster after disaster for Iceborne Esports, and this is all from the pressure that they were mounting at the start of the game. It comes from Darius being such a huge menace that you have to commit certain people there. When you have to commit people there, you're leaving other spaces free. And when you overcommit resources to other sides, just leave other people to be so far ahead. And even though Kirito ends up dying, even though from a really nice outplay from the Lucian and the Ezreal, everyone else is still responding really well. And you give away 3 kills for the Jhin now.
Yeah, and at this point, if you're the side of Iceborne. You may be looking to get away, but it looks like they may be in trouble once again. Angel's trying to find his way in on the invade.
Oh,
Nezumi trying to find a rotation. The Soul
flash.
Shackle's going to come through. No, it's not a Morgana, but the kill comes through anyways. Christ picking one up. Heyman could be in trouble here.
Oh,
Going to be able to smite the Rift Herald. Staying alive just barely. Frostbite now under the fight. Going to
what
find
about team fight?
shutdowns coming through. Firecracker going to get hit by the Mystic Shot, and that means it's a 3-for-1 going back the way of Iceborne.
That was a horrendous team fight from the side of Zen Esports. They overcommitted so much from them, and it kind of makes sense because they were so far ahead. But I think you are committing so much to try and get a kill on the Thresh and on the Udyr that the Udyr can just survive for so long. And when they were able to just survive for that long, the Lucian had first rotation. He was able to respond first. Same for the Ezreal. He was able to respond really easily. And now you give away, I think, two crucial shutdowns on two AD carries.
Yeah, and with that, Frostbite going to be right back in the game. Has been CSing very well. Now Angel's with me trying to find his way in on Jase. Jase, actually, that's a
That was
super
really nice.
cheeky lantern. You never know who's going to be on the other side of that wall, so that was enough to dissuade any further engagement. Cheeky play, like to see that from Jase. Playing some mind games here, going to be able to get himself out alive.
Like you were saying, unless they have vision, they will never know that, and they didn't. So overall, I like the play from Yase. He doesn't die. You have to give away this Drake because you don't have the position nor the resources committed like Zen already has. But it's a Cloud Drake. You can give it away. The important fact is that it's an Infernal Soul. And now Zen is 2 Drakes ahead of you. And in the next Drake, you pretty much have to fight. Oh, Nezumi.
Well, Angels with a
Nice
flash kick. Will
Doesn't
he
have
be
flash.
able to find his way? Nezumi trying to turn this one around. Ignite going to take down Kirito, going to finish off the kill, and that means it's going to be a 1-for-0 in the mid lane. Invade coming through by Heyman. We'll see if he's going to be able to find the enemy jungler, but he looks like he's trying to find his way into the top lane for a gank. We'll see if he's going to get there in time. Joshi, very strong right now, trying to go forward, stride breaker on, but now he's going to be in a 1v2, flashing away from the rupture, trying to spin to win, going to try to get himself out of this one, but the stuns coming through, and Waiting Suck's going to finish off the kill. So 1-for-1 across the map, ganks coming through on both sides.
Yeah, and that is one of the reasons that I love so much Shogat, is that he's such a huge neutralizing champion. It doesn't matter if he's 2-0-2 behind, you can just survive for as long as you can, and every time you get a gank, your feast is that much valuable. Nice read.
Yeah, trying to find anything, but not going to be landing the skill shot just yet. Now it's going to be the Deadly Flourish missing as well. Frostbite not going to land the Mystic Shot either. So lots of abilities, but not much damage.
Yeah, and with all the chaos that has been going on, the gold lead has stayed pretty close. Yeah, it's a 1.5k, but I think it's still manageable for the side of Iceborne Esports because their composition will scale better. So overall, I think this is the correct point to fight. Lucian is waiting for something on the river. He's trying to counter the Echo roaming around, which maybe it prompts up a teamfight because both junglers are also falling down, and there's TP for the Cho'Gath. Oh.
Yeah, Root going to come through actually onto Jase. He could be in trouble with about 500 HP left. Firecracker going to be forced to flash. Parallel Convergence not going to land the stun, but now on to Frostbite is Kirito trying to finish off some kills, trying to find his way into the fight. Nezumi going to be the next focus, but the hook lands and Frostbite going to finish him off. No chance for Chrono Break, and that means the pick comes through, and Iceborne Reborn pick up a kill.
That hook was massive because if that hook doesn't connect, then the Echo can just ultimate out and he would be fine. But overall, really nice play for the side of Iceborne. They closed the gold lead a little bit. Now it's just only 1k. And it's a kill on the Echo, which was putting trouble on the Lucian. Lucian now can just move towards mid lane, respond to that lane. And if he doesn't overcommit or give away a kill, this is a really nice victory for the side of Iceborne, which really important items coming up for the Drake fight in 2 minutes.
Yeah, looks like the bot tower may be about to fall. I don't know how fast Jin is at taking towers, so might not be on this wave, but with the turret plates gone, that means that the bot turret is going to be soon to fall. Now Frostbite trying to defend it, and you cannot defend that. That's a 1 HP tower. Frostbite going to get rooted up. No way out of this one. Firecracker dropping pretty low, actually. Nezumi here as well. Waiting Sucks is coming as well. Will the escape come through? Angel's going to be able to safeguard. They're going to be able to reposition, but now Firecracker's in trouble. Going to be shielded up. Will he be able to stay alive? Not quite. Nezumi going to claim the kill, but one traded back. Nezumi going down himself. Kirito trying to survive just a bit longer. Chrono Breaker was able to give him the health back. Will he be able to flash away? He hasn't got flash, but now the curtain call coming through. It's Angels trying to save the mid lane. It's not going to happen, though. Heyman just staying alive with a shred of health. Now Angel's going to go down as well. A double kill for Heyman on the fringes of death, but Iceborne Reborn going to claim the fight.
Yeah, and they lost a turret topside, but I think they won't lose this one. And are they trying to collapse on the area? Yeah, no. I don't think they can legitimately go for that. But overall, like you were saying, they were able to win that. I'm surprised they were able to pull it off with everything that happened. Sadly, the Lucian ends up dying because of the lantern positioning. He ended up being too far forward instead of going towards the thresh in another angle, so he ends up dying. But overall, what a chaotic teamfight. And Heyman Karn is able to survive all that. I'm surprised he was able to just run away with so little health. It was so funny to watch that dude running.
Yeah, he got his shield just in the nick of time. Yeah. But in the meantime, Christ has become 6-1 on this Jhin. Starting to look very fed here with the Gale Force, trying to set himself up as well to pick up the Collector shortly, and going to be doing a lot of damage in the upcoming team fights. Next Drake coming up in just under 10 seconds at this point. So it'll be onto that one. It looks like both teams may be wanting to contest this mid priority being picked up now by Zen Esports, but Prio over the pit is belonging to Iceborne. We'll see if anyone can be able to find a way in. Blue Trinket over the wall. Going to be able to spot this one out. Now the hook going to land onto Kirito, but that's too early. Now it's a 3-man apprehend. Now the true shot barrage going through, but it's too little. It's too late. Now it's going to be the Dragon's Rage through the entire team. The Culling trying to turn this one around. Frostbite going to pick up the kill onto Angels, but it's a double for Christ. Now he's going forward, looking with the Gale Force, looking with the autos. Kirito going to pick another one up. Nezumi, the next to fall here. You have to feel Zen Joshi going to find the ace. It's a 5 for 1, I should say, in favor of Zen Esports, and they're going to pick up the third Drake and put themselves on soul point.
Yeah, and that was such a well-played teamfight out of the side from Zen Esports. Everyone was compiling on top of the river to try and fight that teamfight, and the key difference to me in that teamfight was the fact that Nezumi was down pushing bot lane, and he arrived way too late to that teamfight in comparison to the 5 members from Zen. They just used Karma movement speed for everyone of the team, and they just collapsed on anyone. And the funny thing is that the Iceborne were the ones setting up that play. They were on the pixel bush waiting for someone to walk over, but because they were outnumbered, they couldn't commit anything. And instead, they fell too late to the play, and the Lucian was never a factor in that teamfight. Because if it was, they did a lot of that. The AD carries were really massive. They did a lot of damage, but they were already losing the teamfight by the time he arrived.
Yeah, unfortunately, the team comp for the side of Iceborne Reborn is a little bit low on hard CC, so the fact that the hook went through onto Kirito, but they weren't able to 100 to 0 him, meant that he was still able to access the chrono break. He was just fine. Like, he was able to face check that brush. He didn't die, and then you just pressed R and got out, so no problem there. And after that, the fight just fell in the favor of the team with a fed Jhin. So definitely making us eat our words a little bit on the Jhin being a little bit of a bait pick, but this time around looking very strong.
Giving 8 kills to the Jhin will make him look nice. I'm just putting that out there. But yeah, the Jhin has been playing a little bit better, and I think it's also the fact that there's so much more members having to commit forward, that because there's no true hard engage from the side of Iceborne. You were saying this perfectly. There's no true hard engage, true hard commitment from the side of Iceborne Esports, that the Jhin can just position really far away and he won't suffer that much. So that's also one of the reasons that I'm really skeptical on what Iceborne is trying to achieve, because their composition is not meant to try and force an engage. It's meant to answer an engage. You have 280 carries. You just need to fire from a distance, and you can win teamfights more easily that way.
Yep, and going into the rest of the team fights, I think that we're going to need to see a little bit of a different look from the side of Iceborne Reborn if they want to win. They need to be able to set themselves up to get into position to kill these strong carries. Like when you have one person with this much power, you basically have to kill them, or else the team fight's not going to go well. We saw how well that was cleaned up by the side of Zen Esports after the initial engage didn't find any kills. So
Yeah.
with 2 minutes coming up on the next Infernal Drake, that means that's going to be the window that they have to set themselves up in mentally and in game to be in position to contest this. Right now, just trying to clear waves, get any gold that you can, get any items that you can before that next fight going to break out.
Yeah, the problem for me for Iceborne is that now they're playing against a timer because the Infernal Drake will come through. The Infernal Soul is the one that it's TP mid lane. Cho'Gath coming in.
Yeah, it looks like the fight's starting to begin. Waiting Suck's going to try to find his way onto Firecracker. Root coming through with the Deadly Flourish. It's just Heyman trying to 1v1 the Karma. Not going to be enough for the kill just yet. Jase going to be in trouble now. Now it's going to be the Sonic Wave onto the back line. Jase going to be taken down. Now Frostbite trying to find the Mystic Shots, trying to find the damage. Zendrashi dropping very low, finding himself a double kill before he dies. Now it's going to be Heyman finding one, but finding himself on the wrong side as it's 3-for-1 so far. Zen Esports continuing to push forward. And now what can they get on the back of this? Baron is available. Drake coming up in a minute, so maybe Vision in the bot side, but we'll see where they go after this fight.
Luckily, they crucially killed the Darius because I think that's the main member to be able to take down Baron. Because Jin is not a fast Baron taker. Lee Sin to some degrees, and Echo to some degree also, but there's not that much of an insurance, and you are against an Ezreal and a Lucian that can just poke from far away. So there's still not that much of a commitment from the side of Zen. But once again, I'm not understanding what the plan from Iceborne is there. You are committing it to be okay, but none of your AD carries, your actual damage dealers, are there. You're just committing for a play that will never be able to be executed because you don't have the damage to be able to kill anyone.
Yeah, and right now the lead in the gold starting to balloon pretty heavily. It's 6,000. I haven't kept a close eye on it, so I don't know how long it's been that much. But right now,
It's been a steady
long
climb.
way. Yeah, a long way to come back if you're the side of Iceborne right now. You need to find just picks and not get into bad fights. But right now, they look like they're ready to contest this Infernal Drake. Will be Soul if it's going to be taken down by the side of Zen. And Zen posturing, trying to find their way into the pit. Don't have priority from the mid side, but they did drop the Rift Herald, so that's going to be pushing forward with the mid wave. Now the fight's starting to break out. The Culling going to be used. Going to find chip damage, but not very much as Joshi has become pretty tanky against the physical type damage. Parallel
What a
conversion
nice
is going to
jump.
find stuns onto 2. Apprehend. Waiting Sucks could be in trouble. Dropping very low. Going to find the shutdown first, though. He's able to finish off Joshi. Now it's going to be the fight continuing. Both top laners down, but the rest of the squad's still available. Now the Mystic Shot's starting to do significant damage, but now it's going to be shields coming through across the team. Shutdown comes through to Nezumi, and that's going to be enough, I believe, to back off Zen. They're going to have to walk away from this one. Could be an attempted steal by Angels. It looks like they don't want to fight this one yet. Now Shutdown's coming through. Nezumi trying to finish off. Low health bars. Will Angels be able to finish this one off? Around 500 HP for 3 members there, but it's not going to be close enough to turn it into 0. Angels could try to steal, but this is very risky. Staying in the area, Firecracker trying to shield them up. They've got a control word of the wall. The steal comes through with the inner flame. It's going to be at the cost of Angels, but that is Soul.
Why? Why? You just needed to pull it out. That's about it. That's all you need to do. Pull it out, put the thresh on the back, and you can cover everything. But they feel like they need to clear it before everything happens, and just ended up. The funny thing is it's not the Lee Sin that steals it. It's the Karma Mantra Q. That's what ends up stealing the Drake. And now it's an Echo and a Jin with Infernal Soul and a Darius. But I think we're beginning to see what the actual composition from the side of Iceborne Esports should do, because they committed really hard to be able to kill the Cho'Gath and other champions, and they almost weren't able to win that top fight. It was really close for the gold lead difference that was at the moment.
Yeah, and I think that the Drake was actually intentionally early smited by angels because he was waiting for the mantra Q to come over the wall from
I
Firecracker,
think he
and
didn't
they just.
smite it
Uh,
because he was
you
dead
think he
with the
didn't even
smite on.
smite it?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that
when I was looking at his death picture to see if he smited, and the smite was up, so I don't think he actually smited. I think it was just a miss smite and the threat from the DC coming over that scared them from actually smiting well.
Oh, well, if it was a miss smite by Heyman, that's going to haunt him in his nightmares, I think.
The debuts.
Especially if they aren't able to come back and win this game. Right now, still definitely could go either way, but definitely advantage for Zen Esports, and that's helped out by the fact that they do have this Infernal Soul, which definitely works very well when you have a team comp of like Jin, Echo, Karma. Those are all great users of the Infernal Soul.
Yeah, I think specifically the Jin, because he scales with much more with certain statistics in comparison to other AD carries. So having the extra damage for Jin, I think it's much more valuable than with other AD carries. But I think one of the main users from this Infernal Soul will be the Darius, because now he can just go in and have his ultimate be procced more easily, which will eventually turn into more eventual damage for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, it looks like Baron's starting to be postured around it. Surprisingly, the side of Iceborne is the first towards this Baron, trying to deny out some vision, maybe trying to play around the idea that they could be taking down this Baron. They've got double 80 carries, so they could definitely do it pretty quickly. Now a fight starting
Oh,
out,
flash.
Apprehend going to land on a couple. Frostbite in the front line here might not be the right positioning. Now it's going to be Kirito trying to find his way into the back, but Nezumi on the flank. Will he be able to find the kills? Frostbite going to find the first of the fight. Nezumi into the back line. Not going to be enough damage. Christ going to take him down. Now the current call over the top. Low health bars on both sides. Now the flash forward is going to be a double kill going over to Christ. The triple. He's finding his way. How is he doing it? He's making him disappear. It's a magic show this time around, as it's 3 for 2 in favor of Zen.
I gotta say, it was a lot of lucky damage that came through from the Jin, but overall he played really well the teamfight. I think it was really, really close between the Lucian and the Jin. If not for the fact that the Jin had Infernal Soul, I think the Lucian wins that 1v1, and that teamfight turns out really differently. Also, a really important fact was that the Lucian once again came in way too late, but because they were fighting how their composition wants to fight, Iceborne wasn't in that much of a threat. They needed the Flash, the Ghost, and the Strikebreaker to try and get into any position to be able to force a teamfight, and they still almost didn't win. The Ezreal didn't have Flash. The Udyr doesn't have Flash. And the Cho'Gath had to burn Flash to run away. So overall, I'm beginning to be scared for Zen, honestly, because some of these fights are way too close for what they have currently and how far ahead they are.
Yeah, Frostbite definitely starting to come online here. And I thought personally that Nezumi played that fight really well. He was on the flank. He was able to pick himself up a double kill. I think that one of the kills actually got picked up by Frostbite. But whatever the case was, he was able to get himself in a good position. And with a little bit more damage, he would have been able to take out the entire backline. So definitely very good on that flank. And if they can find something similar to that, they can find more success in the upcoming team fights, I believe.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Like, the difference to me, it's 100% the Infernal Soul. If that is not on the Jin, he 100% wins that 1v1 because the extra damage will not be able to delete the Lucian that soon. And then the Lucian can just easily out DPS the Jin. Not out damage, but out DPS the Jin, because he will have consistent damage more easily. And as soon as he kills the Jin, he moves over to the Karma and kills him. Oh, Jin is
Yeah,
alone. They don't know.
Yeah,
Whoa, that
he
was
was able to avoid walking into the wrong brush there. But looking back at the fight, maybe looking on the side of Zen, they need to be finding fights in
oh,
better
nice.
situations for themselves going forward. They need to not walk straight into a choke like that and give themselves an exposed flank. Where they get cut in the fight, and then Joshi is separated from the rest of the squad trying to go 1v4.
Yeah.
And maybe just fighting around objectives will be the way that they can do that. The Elder Drake actually coming up here very shortly, so they will have an objective to fight around, but we'll see if they're going to have any success. It looks like they may be just trading this one off for Baron, maybe try to poke over the wall.
They're
Kirito's
committing.
still in the area.
I think this is a
Full
I think this is a
five-man
correct call.
commit, though.
I think
Yeah,
this is correct. They
it's
have Beast.
Oh, over the wall, Kirito trying to turn this into a fight. The squad rolling on back. It's a 5v5. The culling going through, not going to find quite enough damage. Heyman going to be in trouble here, going to be taken down. No smite available for Iceborne. Now they could be in trouble as well. The damage coming through, but one going back. Nezumi trying to turn the fight around, trying to take this Drake. Is going to be smited up by Angels, and the Elder buff is certainly going to eliminate the rest of the fight. Angels flashing forward. It's another kill coming through. It's 4 for 2 going in favor of Zen and the Elder Drake to boot.
Yeah, and I like the idea from Iceborne. I think they should have just wholeheartedly committed for the Elder because you have Fist. By that, they turned around when everyone was piling over the from the side from Zen, and Zen thrive in chaos. They want to fight these chaotic teamfights that are so random that they can just do so much because nobody knows what is going on. But because that ended up happening, they win this teamfight so easily. But I like the call from Iceborne, and I feel like if just for a little bit more, they committed more for the Drake. With all the kills that was happening, if they just commit for the Drake, they would end up being able to secure the Drake with the Fist, and then they probably, maybe not win the teamfight, but they buy themselves enough time so that the Baron cannot fall down because your 280 carries will have that damage and will stop that. But now Sen has both crucial objectives down with the soul, and they can just push forward. I think they can just push forward with 5 members on mid lane, or just send 4 towards mid lane and the Echo bot lane, and just try and push through that as well. That is another option that they have.
Yeah, it looks like they're looking at sending Zen Joshi to the bot lane to try to split push here. But with the triple end game buffs, they've got everything that they need to end the game. And this one has been
Yeah.
so close for so long that finally getting a little bit of air to breathe on the side of Zen between them and the opposition means that they need to take this moment and push it for all that they can, make sure that they don't allow a way back into the game. But now it looks like a flank coming through from Heyman and Nezumi, so we'll see if they're going to find anyone. Stun coming through. The Chrono Break is in time, though. Kirito going to be able to get out now. Angel's trying to turn the fight, going to try to use that Elder buff. It's going to be the Dragon, not going to be close enough for the kill, but the damage goes through, and Joshi continues to push in the bot lane.
Yeah, that commitment was maybe not fully necessary, but I think that will stop them for a little bit. They can lose 1 or 2 inhibitors. I think that's something that it's doable and manageable, but giving more, it's probably harder and harder. So I think they need to try and stop something else, but they cannot fight a 5v5. I think they need to go for a pick because the Elder buff and the Baron buff are so huge.
Yeah, I think Shirelli's just got popped. This may be the engaged. Waiting Suck's going to be the first target. Now Joshi trying to find his way into the backline. He's doing so much damage. He's got himself one. He's looking for more. The curtain call over the top, going to find the kills. 4 for 0 already, and it's just Frostbite sitting on his Nexus. This is going to be too little too late, as Zen going to overwhelm the base, going to be able to finish off this game and this series. Zen Esports going to take it 2-1.
Yeah, and they played really well. I feel like overall, Iceborne just realized way too late how they should have played this game, because they were winning some teamfights, but by the time they actually could win teamfights, the soul was already down. They were in such a precarious position that they were never in control of the map, and when it push comes to shove and they had to fight the Elder Drake, they just committed for too many things instead of just committing for one thing, and it ended up biting them badly and giving away the win. So really nice played by Sen. I feel like the second game they left it a lot of the pressure that they had on the first game, but certainly they came back with a more early focus game in the third game, and they played really well to that.
Yeah, I think this series was really close all the way through. Well played from both sides. Have you gotten any thoughts for us before we take it home for the week?
Mm, the final thoughts that I would say was that even though Iceborne lost, they still showed really nice sides to themselves, and I feel like if they can just clear some of their decision making in certain moments of the game, that they can really easily win, because there's a lot of fights that they didn't need to take and they take and end up losing. There's a lot of objectives that they don't control well enough, and if they understand those things more easily and can execute them with them and take better decisions, they can just win against almost any team. I feel like they played really well.
Absolutely. Well, with all that said, that's going to conclude our series. Zen Esports taking the match 2-1 over Iceborne Reborn, and that is all for our Week 3 coverage of the Junior Division. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. I am Tiger. I have been here with TDS, and we'll hope to see you again next week.